All right, fading out the music. Good afternoon, everybody, and we are live with our next episode of Gaming Tonic. Welcome to the podcast. It is wonderful to have all of you beautiful viewers here today. I hope you guys are ready for another exciting episode. I am one of your hosts, Just Vince. It's wonderful to have you here, and I am joined by today
the Ordinary Joker here, and today we have a bit of a special guest.
a bit.
You know him, you love him.
Love him.
His name is Spicy Doom.
Oh,
What's
boy.
going on,
How's it going, man?
buddy? I'm doing fantastic, my guy. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited.
We're excited to have
Very.
you here. Excited to
Yes,
have you
sir.
here, man. All right,
Mhm.
so hopefully you guys are ready. Just a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be doing a recap of our week as usual, what we've been doing as content creators, what we've been working on, give Spicy Doom a chance to kind of intro himself, tell us a little bit about his channel, the content he's been working on and all that stuff. And then for our main overall topic today, we're going to be talking about games as a service, what that means, like how every game is kind of coming out designed to be played much longer than its natural life cycle would be or should be potentially in some cases. So just pretty interesting topic. We're going to be mixing it up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to the Ordinary Joker. So dude, tell me a little bit about what you've been working on this week, what you've been doing. How's your content
Okay.
creation journey been going this week?
This week was fun, man. We played a little bit of Dead by Daylight earlier in the week. I've been playing a lot of Smash, preparing for Steve to come in and just ruin it all for me.
Of course.
And yeah, I'm getting my last licks in. And then this Friday we did a 500 follower celebration on my stream. Gave away some G Fuel. That was hype. Yeah.
Let's go. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Big
thank you,
500.
thank
That's
you.
exciting,
Yes.
man.
And yeah, that's how my week's been going. How about you, man?
So far, dude, my week has been pretty good. It had a good ending after a very rough start. As many of you know, I've been having issues with Spectrum for the last week and a half or so. And after about a week and a half of fierce combat with customer support and friendly employees and helpful technicians who seriously, all the respect in the world to all of the customer support people and people who came out to my house and dealt with me being incredibly impatient and frustrated. Just shout out to those guys. But oh my gosh, that was ridiculous to have to deal with my internet just not working for a week and a half after launching the podcast the week before, and then have to
Yeah,
deal with
dude.
all that mess. But the last couple of days, it's been working normally. We haven't had any issues, no drop frames, steady upload speed. It's been working perfectly. So I'm very excited to have it working again. And I actually did my first stream with my wife last night, Erica, and we did a stream where we, just hung out, had some drinks, played some Fall Guys, chatted with a lot of the people in the community, and it was honestly one of the best times I've had streaming. It was so much fun. I know both
That
of you
was
guys were
cool.
able to come through, but yeah. So that's been my week. So Spicy Doom, tell us about your week. Before you do your whole intro, what have you been working on this week? Is there anything that's been going on with you?
No. I've been having a lot of issues with Cox on my end. It's
Relatable.
really- and how you're saying you're oh, they really helped me out. I've had the complete opposite. I don't think I've had anybody help me out. They're very
Gosh.
much like, buy a new modem, bro, figure it out. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Thank you for your help.
One he told me, no joke. I was like, yeah, I'm using Chrome to do a speed test. It's not working. And they're like, oh, did you try clearing your cache? I'm like,
What?
That's not how that works.
Are you serious? They said that?
No joke is what they said. Try clearing your cache. I'm like, that's
Hey,
not-
did you
or-
try turning your router on and off again? Or
yeah, I was
maybe that might work.
The thing that killed me is they asked me every time that I called my customer support people if I was plugged in by way of Ethernet. I was like, yes. Yes, I am. I mentioned that in the support ticket that I sent you that you said that you were reviewing before you answered my call. Okay, anyways. But yeah, I mean, internet issues are tough, man. But what I want to do is give you a chance to kind of shout out your channel, tell us a little bit about you, why you got into content creation, what it is that you're doing, what it is you play, what you're working on, anything that you're excited about that's going on in the world of Spicy Doom, and kind of what people could look forward to if they decide to check out your channel. So give us a shout out for you.
Yeah, man. I've been streaming on and off for about 5 years now. Taking it a little bit more seriously than the last 2 years. It's been pretty cool. I just kind of, I guess, a variety streamer, I guess the best way to put it. I play pretty much whatever I want, whatever just seems fun. Lately, it's been a lot of Call of Duty, Detroit Become Human, which is really cool. It's my first
Awesome.
playthrough of that. We play, like I said, pretty much kind of whatever. I do my own little, I guess you could call it a podcast about movies, and then I do one about metal music. I'm a huge metalhead, so I love talking about metal music. I started doing this just because I just love games. I love talking to people and meeting new people, and I feel like Twitch is a really good way of doing that. Obviously, I met you guys doing that, and
Mhm.
then
Love you,
yeah, man,
Harvey.
it's just really fun, bro. Like I just like honestly just play whatever I feel like. I don't really have an agenda of what I want to play, and sometimes I don't figure it out until like 2 minutes before I go live. So
Awesome. Most of the time,
Feel
I don't
that
have
one.
it figured out when I go live. Usually, I don't even want to play what I'm playing. I'm just like there. I'm
Me
like,
too.
I want to go live, so I'm gonna turn on the stream and I'm gonna do it. But I don't even know if I want to play Apex right now. And I've wanted to this week, and that's been cool. But man, sometimes you want to do something different. But
Mhm.
I heard you mention that you're a big metal fan. I know we've got a couple of metalhead fans in the chat because they're my friends and they love metal music. I mean, do you have a couple of bands that you want to shout out real quick? Like, if you could give me like a top three that like you just jam with, love.
Ooh, top three, yeah. Korn is probably like one of my biggest. That's probably
Hmm.
like the band that really got me into like heavier music. I love Korn. And then going on a more of like a different route, Hatebreed is another band I really really love. Hatebreed, and then if I had to choose one last one,
Mhm.
Slipknot. I have a Slipknot tattoo.
Oh, there we go.
That's
Oh.
probably like one of my favorite bands. So
All right, as someone who does not listen to metal music, I knew 2 out of 3, so I think that's not too bad. I'm gonna give myself a
Me
quick pat on the
too.
bat for that.
Yeah.
We're not looking too bad here. They're probably the 2 most mainstream ones, but I knew them. It doesn't matter. All right. So,
Feel
well,
that.
hey, thank you for the rundown of your channel and the content that you produce. Anybody who wants to check out Spicy Doom, be sure to do so at Spicy Doom on Twitch and Spicy Doom on Twitter. You can see the little like tag lines below him there on the overlay. So be sure to check him out. He's awesome. He's a friend of ours. So moving on to our main topic for this week, we are going to be talking about games as a service. And this is one that when I pitched it to both of you, you were like, this is definitely something that we want to talk about and that we can talk about. There's a lot to be said about games as a service because I think as a whole, this is really where the gaming industry is shifting. And I personally think that that's largely in part to mobile games.
yeah.
And the big like just surge of money that has come from mobile games into the gaming industry. I mean, it is insane how much money people make off of mobile games. Looking at like Genshin Impact alone as the most recent one. I know that also released on PS4, PC, Xbox, and all that, but I mean that's also a mobile game. And it's kind of crazy to look at because personally, I know 3 friends at work, like grown adults that have spent more than $200 on Genshin Impact since it's been out.
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, bro.
Oh.
It's crazy. It's crazy, you know, and you look at the landscape and that's where things are going because there's so much money in it. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it works. So, I mean, when you think of games as a service, so I'm going to pitch this one to you first, Joker. When you think of games as a service, what's the first game that comes to mind? Just off the top of your head.
Probably World of Warcraft.
Awesome. Yeah, that's an excellent option. Yeah. One of the first massive games as a service, arguably the biggest MMO that's ever been created. There's a case to be made for RuneScape, but I think as far as subscription MMO specifically, it's the biggest one. So what about you, Spicy? When you think of games as a service, what do you think of?
Destiny.
Strongly agree with that one. Yeah, especially after in the last year them deciding to go ahead and take Destiny 2 free to play, make it completely a thing where you only purchase expansions and microtransactions, whatever else you want to buy as you go, and there's like ornaments and stuff in game that you can get. Definitely a game that is designed to be played that way. So when you look at something like World of Warcraft versus Destiny, I mean, you pay a subscription for World of Warcraft and they do have microtransaction stuff on top of it, and then you have a game like Destiny that doesn't quite have as much content, but it's free to play at the start. But to play anything current, you do have to pay. To be caught up with everyone else, you do have to pay. So when you look at those 2 models of games as a service, I mean, which one do you think is more consumer friendly?
Destiny
to you, and why do you feel that way?
Because it's an easier entry point, I guess, because it's free to play, right?
Yeah.
So you just download the game and play it. You know, I don't know how far you can get into Destiny before you have to start paying for stuff. It's been a while since I've played Destiny 2, but anything that's like a free entry point is a great way because then you're just getting people to play your game. And then if they do enjoy it, then they start buying the expansions and they keep playing it and all that stuff. So you're not really like having to drop any kind of money or invest in anything at the beginning. You just basically like, I'm gonna try it out. And if I have fun, then I have fun.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. I totally that's where I see it too. If you can get in on it when it's free, I think you're gonna have a higher chance of success with your game instead of having somebody pay for it, because then everybody can play it, you know?
Well,
yeah.
And the question that I posed wasn't specifically like what will have the most people try out your game. I said, what do you think is more consumer friendly? And see, this is something that I think is kind of interesting because I think that it's definitely easier to pick up and play Destiny 2, but I would argue that it's less consumer friendly because I think that they made it free to play with the intent that it's going to get you hooked on the gameplay loop during the part of the game where it's the fastest to level up and get the new items and you feel like you're progressing quickly and you love that feeling of progression and seeing the numbers go up. People love
Definitely,
that
dude.
feeling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of designed to hook you in that stage and then get you wanting to pay for the expansions. You know? And
Right.
and again, they won't have the same amount of content, but it won't cost as much as World of Warcraft either. So when you look at games like that, like, is it the consumer friendly option? And I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. I'm just like playing devil's advocate here a little bit, you know, just like kind of posing different opinions for you, seeing if I can like sway you one way or the other on this. I think that they're both excellent examples and both incredible games. But realistically, I mean, is Bungie doing more for the consumer than Blizzard?
I mean, I think anything that uses like a gaming subscription isn't very. I think to me, like as a consumer, I'm like, bro, I don't want to have to pay a subscription. Like,
Yeah.
Coming from somebody, I'm a console person. I play Xbox,
Yeah.
and I have to pay every month to play online, and it's frustrating, but it's like I have to do it, whatever. But I think if I had to pay just to play one specific game every month, that's honestly the biggest thing for World of Warcraft for me is I don't want to pay every month to play it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I totally. And for me, it's like I'll pay it, but a little piece of me is like, well, what if I don't want to come back to this game next week? Like,
Yeah.
I get tired of WoW really quick. So, like, I don't want to pay for something when I'm only gonna play it, maybe like once a week.
Hit max level
Maybe.
in the expansion and then call it a day, whatever the new content is that just came out.
That's exactly what I do.
Makes sense. So something else that's been popping up a lot in games as a service is the concept of a battle pass. And I've heard a lot of different varying opinions on the battle pass from different people. The general consensus seems to be positive. It's kind of a constant, feeling of progression that you can get in most games. There's a couple that have done it really well and a couple that I think have done it really poorly. One game that I'm not super familiar with personally, but kind of like was the original founder of the battle pass idea, I believe, was Fortnite, correct? Let's say. Do you guys know of any other game that did that first?
I'm not sure of any games that did it prior to Fortnite, but if there were, I think Fortnite was definitely the game that like made battle passes like the thing,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Everyone started doing it after that.
So have you played Fortnite, Spicy? Do you play Fortnite regularly at all?
I stopped playing Fortnite after season 2 when people could build in like a second an entire tower, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Girl, I'm good, dude.
You roll up there with your portafort and you go to throw it out there because you're like, yeah, I'm not a builder, but I have a portafort, and they've already got 2 forts built by the time your portafort finishes assembling, and they're crazy. Like, yeah, absolutely insane. What about you, Joker? You play any Fortnite?
I played a lot of Fortnite in like season 2, season 3, but I don't play anymore.
Okay, so were you one of the builders, like one of the hardcore builders, like you knew how to build well?
I suck at every game I play, man. That wasn't me. I just sat in a bush with a sniper rifle. That was
just clicking on heads. Hey,
yeah,
you do what you got to do. All right, so we're not Fortnite gamers, but I think that one thing we can all agree on is that Fortnite is kind of the one who pioneered the idea of this battle pass and kind of made it what it is today. And they are a big part of why it is as popular as it is. And I think that they're the reason that other companies know how to do it as well as they've done it. Because the main thing that I want to take away from like their battle pass is they made it so that you could buy the next battle pass with the in-game currency that you would have to pay real money for if you completed the battle pass. And I think that that is one of the most consumer-friendly decisions in the gaming industry as far as like microtransactions go. Because I do consider the battle pass a microtransaction. It is something that you have to pay to add on to your game that you didn't already get with the game content when you purchased it. Some games do have a free battle pass, but there's always a premium track or something. But being able to play the game and earn the currency back so that you don't have to pay again, that's an insane amount of value, and I think it's incredible.
Yeah, that's stellar. When I did play Fortnite, all I would grind out essentially the battle pass is like, hey, play our game more and you'll get more stuff for it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that they put that in-game currency you can use to get the battle pass in the free track of that battle pass, so that you're still doing exactly what they wanted you to do with that battle pass. But then once you get enough for that, then you can get all the rewards that you had missed before. Granted, you might get to that point a little slower, but it's still cool that they give you that option. I think more battle passes should do that.
Absolutely. And so, Spicy, when you look at a battle pass in Fortnite, let's say you're playing Fortnite today and they have the battle pass and they've got all these things and it's making you play the game a lot because you want to finish the battle pass. You like the sense of progression, you like the cool unlocks, all that stuff. When you look
Mhm.
at the in-game store in Fortnite, apart from the battle pass, because there is like a whole other slew of cosmetics that are on a rotation that you can purchase, does playing the game regularly and playing the battle pass make you want to purchase more from the store, like the in-game cosmetics, because you're going to be playing a lot?
No. No, not at all.
Not at all. Not even a little.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because like I don't know why, but like usually, so you play like what battle passes are usually like $10, I think, right?
Yeah, most games.
So
Yeah.
you spend $10 and you have, I don't know, the only battle pass that I can think of that I know like pretty well is Call of Duty.
Mhm.
It's what 100 levels, so it's 100 things that you could unlock for $10.
Yeah.
Which to me that's just value right there.
Mhm.
But I don't want to drop like $10, $15 on a single skin just to be like, I'm dressed as Captain America in Fortnite now, so I'm cool. Like it's different. Like if I spend $10 to get a bunch of stuff, awesome, that's great. But
Mhm.
$10 to get a skin that I'll probably get tired of after like a couple hours, anyways. I'm okay.
I think I agree with you. And what I'd like to add is like I think battle pass. Another thing that makes them kind of cool, in my opinion, is instead of just spending your $10 on that Captain America skin and feeling cool about it, you're actually working towards this progression system that this game
Yeah,
wouldn't have had otherwise. Getting this skin at the end of the road and being like, look at me, I actually played this game. I did these challenges to get this skin. Like there's a sense of progression behind it, I feel like, and I think that's cool. I
Yeah.
like
yeah,
that.
And another thing that I think is interesting about battle passes is I think that the battle pass value actually increases the longer after the battle pass has ended. Because I believe that most games that I'm familiar with, at least, the cosmetics that become available in the battle passes that you can earn are not later available for purchase. So they're
Mhm.
exclusive to the people who put the time in and played the game and got those cosmetics. And it's interesting to see something like that where you can't necessarily resell it, but you see something from season 1 of Fortnite of somebody who completed that battle pass. You're like, they've been here for a minute. They know what's up.
Yeah,
You know what
dude.
I mean? And
Exactly.
it's got that prestige. And I think that you hit a point where the battle pass is already so much more valuable than any like one cosmetic that you can purchase in the Fortnite store. And then the stuff that you can earn becomes even more valuable than the stuff that you can just buy, even if you wanted to
Mhm.
just buy random cosmetics.
Right.
But similarly, I think that the cosmetics that you can earn while the battle pass is going on are actually lower value than the stuff that you can find in the store because everybody has them, because everybody's doing the battle pass. So it's not that cool to see somebody with battle pass skins while it's going on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, but then like you said, as time goes on and the player base either thins out or grows even more, that battle pass, those skins you got in that battle pass or what have you, that's all going to be cool to somebody who's just joining the game maybe 5 seasons later and wish they could have gotten that same skin.
Yeah. So we have a couple of other battle royales listed, and I'm kind of gonna like lump all these together, even though they're not lumped together in our notes, because I just thought about this right now, and I'm a professional podcaster here. Thumbs up. And so we're gonna lump together like Modern Warfare, Apex Legends, and PUBG, kind of all in the same one. They're all games that have battle passes. They are unique to themselves. But looking at these, I mean, is there anything that you see in the other battle passes for COD or Apex or PUBG that you look at and you're like, this is something that I think is unique to this battle pass that is better. There's something about this live service game specifically that I like more than Fortnite. Anything that you want to discuss, like comparing these games specifically, looking at the battle royale genre. I know that was like a really loaded question. Like, so I'm sorry about that, but
The one thing that I'll say, which is different, is PUBG and Apex are standalone games, right?
oh,
So PUBG has
Mhm.
been out for a couple years now, and Apex I think is a little over a year old.
mm-hmm.
But the difference with that and say Modern Warfare is Black Ops comes out in a month. No one's gonna care about Modern Warfare once
That's
Black
true.
Ops comes out. So it's kind of weird. Like it gives you a good sense of like doing stuff now is like cool. I have it now, but next year it doesn't really matter. To whereas like PUBG, people could have stuff from like 2 years ago that they're like, yeah, I did this 2 years ago. I still have it. And Apex, same thing. Where it's kind of weird. Like Now this is coming again. I play Modern Warfare like every day, so I've been doing like the last 3 battle passes because I like want something to do. But as soon as Black Ops comes out, I'm gonna be like, well, all that stuff I don't care about anymore because now it's a new game and I got new
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, speaking about that specifically, the idea that like you could have something from a couple of years ago. I have a card from season 1 of Apex, and it's my Wraith loading card, and you can have like little tags underneath that are like stat lines, basically like stat trackers. And I got
Yeah.
1 win on Wraith during season 1, and my tracker says 1 season 1 win on Wraith, and that's it. And that is the only like little tag I will ever have on my Wraith card is I got 1 season 1 win, and we're on like season 5 or 6 now, so it's been a long time. But you'll have like these like champion like 20 kill badge boys, like they've got like 30,000 kills under their belt by this point, like and they're loading in with all their flashy banners. And then there's 1 season 1 win Wraith right in the middle, default skin, no worries. Like
Yeah, and you know somebody sees that and is like, oh crap, dude. Like they're all season 1. What the heck?
Yeah. And something that Jacob mentioned in the chat, Grinth Live mentioned that Apex giving materials to make new skins allows you to save your actual coins to buy the next pass. And they do give you enough currency to make the next pass, but they also do give you crafting materials, enough to craft 1 legendary skin of your choice from the library of skins available. And I think that is definitely something that Apex does a lot better, is giving you value from your money from the battle pass, even more so than something like Fortnite, which doesn't give you an option to craft stuff from the store, to my knowledge. I haven't played in a long time, but
I don't think they do.
yeah. And then looking at PUBG, I mean, that game is it blew up massively on launch, but I think it's been widely regarded as a game that is challenging for both you and your computer to be able to run. It's been optimized so poorly, and it's had so many bugs and so many issues. But I think it really just blew up because it was right place, right time. It was coming off of the back of H1Z1 that a lot of people had a lot of issues with, and the developers weren't pushing it forward in ways the community wanted. So, here comes Blue Hole Games, and they're like, here's PUBG, and it's incredible, and we're excited about it because it's just slightly better than H1, and everybody was like, good enough for us, and they took it, bugs and everything. And it's still in such a messed up state, but I loaded it up the other day, and it was fun. I mean, there's nothing like the gun mechanics in PUBG. I don't know, have you guys played PUBG?
I have, dude. Yeah.
You have?
I have.
A game on Steam, this PUBG.
How many hours you got on PUBG?
I want to say it's like 200, probably close to 3. That's like actually PUBG is the reason I bought a gaming computer, was because everybody was playing PUBG.
All right, I am
easily 70 hours.
I am unfortunate enough to have 754 hours on PUBG on PC. I have not played it on console, but when it came out, I played a lot of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. We got our money's worth. And
I don't think my most played game on Steam has more than that.
But even a game that was considered to be that much of a buggy mess and that bad, you look at PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and it was so fun during the time that it was out. And it had such a thriving community, and the Twitch community was incredible. And I got so much value out of it, and it was like $30, So it wasn't free to play. It didn't have an easy entry point. But I think that they hit live service game done right. They should have developed it more properly. They shouldn't have coded it with spaghetti code that is impossible to fix. But right place, right time, I think they hit the nail on the head with what a live service game is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Aubrey.
Oh, thank you. I would say
you're my guest, man.
I mean, you were right. Like how I remember H1 being pretty popular because I had a friend that like played it like crazy. But then PUBG came out, and I would say PUBG is probably the biggest reason Battle Royale games became such a huge thing in general. Like H1, I get it came first, but it wasn't as big as like PUBG. It's like this huge game, and now everyone makes a Battle Royale game for their game. It's mandatory.
Yeah.
And that's actually moving us into our next Battle Royale that I didn't include because it's not technically part of that, but Fall Guys. I mean, I played this really, like sat down and played it for a long time, like a good sitting for the first time last night. I had played it for like an hour before that. I loved it.
What's your hot take? I think it's wonderful. I love that game.
My hot take is that it's Mario Party for a new generation because Nintendo refuses to make a good Mario Party.
Oh god, I bought the last one, dude.
And it was so bad. It was terrible. Like I still play it and have fun, but comparatively it's awful compared to the older Mario Party games,
Even the Wii one was like it was incredible compared this Switch one. Get it out of here, dude.
Yeah.
That's awful.
If they had been like
suck.
This Mario Party $30, I'd be like, okay, sure. That was a $30 Mario Party game. It is not a $60 Mario Party game, and you can get Fall Guys for $20. And I really
Yeah.
think that it's Mario Party for the new generation. You load it up with your friends and you survive as long as you can. And the feeling when you're doing good and when you're getting ahead of other people and getting a win, it's incredible.
It is, yeah.
And
Now,
go
what they
ahead.
need to do is they need to partner with Nintendo and get some Mario skins or something like that. Maybe it'll really be the next Mario Party.
What Sniper is saying in the chat, whoever got the deal to release Fall Guys on launch for free on PlayStation Plus is like the smartest person in the world, because I think that made the game 10 times more popular than if it just released like
Thank you
in
for thank you for the compliment, Javi.
general.
Wait, what's up? What happened with PlayStation Plus? What's going on here?
When Fall Guys first came out,
Yeah.
it was released on PlayStation Plus like the day of launch. Like it
Oh,
was like,
Yeah.
cool, you get it free on PlayStation Plus. So it's a huge game that I think that really helped it, because if it just dropped, it probably would have got some like attention, especially from streamers. But the fact that everyone on PlayStation could just get it, like that's why I got it, because I
That's
got
why
it.
I got it too.
Yeah, so it's super smart. Like congrats on them for getting that deal.
Yeah. And their battle pass, I don't believe you have to pay for it. I think it just is included, correct? You just get the cosmetics
Yep.
by playing the game.
As of right now, it is, yes.
And like I look at something like Fall Guys that's doing something like that, with their battle pass just being included in the price of playing the game. And it's a pretty simple, straightforward game. And realistically, I mean, their overhead cost is the servers, and I think that all the money that they get from microtransactions will more than make up for like the loss of not having a battle pass with a bunch of free content included. I think it's just a way to be like, hey, we're doing something more consumer friendly than the other guys, so come play our game. It's fun anyways. They know they have something good that people will want to keep playing.
Yeah,
So-
dude, and that works too. People like consumer friendly.
Yeah, people eat it up.
Exactly.
And comparing something like Fall Guys to another game that I want to talk about, and you mentioned that if it hadn't been free on PS Plus, it might not have blown up the way that it did. And this is a game that I personally haven't played yet. Okay, yet I might be playing it soon, but not yet. And it's Among Us. And I want to touch on this
Oh.
because you said that it might not have blown up as much as it did. Among Us came out like 3 years ago now. It's a dev team of like 3 dudes, right? Like 3 people that developed the game, super small team, and they're millionaires now because their game blew up 3 years later. If
Yeah.
Fall Guys hadn't released on PlayStation Plus, do you think that realistically, like whether it was 6 months or a year or 2 years or however long, it would have eventually found the kind of success that it did? Similar to Among Us.
I think it's there's 2 things that I think really worked for Among Us or Fall Guys. One, that it was free on PlayStation Plus. 2, everybody is stuck at home right now and they have nothing else to do. So not to say I think Fall Guys is a bad game, but I enjoyed the game. But I think it probably would have had like a decent cult following, and then it probably would have died off later. I think it was like the perfect storm of just 2 things happening at one time that made it huge.
That's all it
and then,
takes.
Among Us, maybe 3 years down the road, if they kept adding stuff to it, people are like, dude, Fall Guys is fantastic. Like, let's just play Fall Guys. But I think that it was just really perfect timing, honestly.
It really was. I genuinely don't think they could have been more right place, right time than maybe PUBG doing it outside of COVID hours, coming in at exactly the right time to take like the Battle Royale genre and push it forward to a new generation of people that wouldn't have played H1Z1. But I think that a lot of these developers that we're listing right now are people who are doing games as a service right. And they're people who are pushing the industry in a good direction. They're giving a lot of value for the consumer. They're giving you as much bang for your buck as you can possibly get playing their games. I mean, again, 754 hours on a game that cost me $30 for PUBG. That's incredible, The amount of fun and like entertainment that people have gotten out of Fall Guys, whether through watching it on Twitch, playing it with their friends, playing it with their family, other people online, it's incredible. You look at these games and you're like, these guys are doing it right. So, someone that I want to look at who's maybe been doing it wrong. Marvel's Avengers, the new Avengers game that came out that was kind of neat, but I think has been widely regarded as an overwhelming disappointment. Have you played the new Marvel's Avengers, Spicy Doom?
I have chose to boycott that game because they're keeping Spider-Man on PlayStation, and I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man; he's my favorite character.
Me too.
The fact that he's a DLC only character for PlayStation makes me really upset.
Do you have a PlayStation?
I do, but I play all my games on Xbox. PlayStation. I typically only keep it for exclusives. I'm everything else I play on Xbox. But I just think it's a dumb thing in general. Anyways, I don't like console locked DLC for characters. I think that's dumb.
Thinking we got to do another episode with Spicy with some more console stuff, Vince. We should have brought him in on that first episode.
Definitely possible. Yeah.
That
That would have been interesting.
I got tilted, bro. When you guys were talking about Xbox, I'm like, don't.
and you know, this is like exactly why I want to have guests on the show. I want to hear opinions from people that like are differing from mine and like might have a hot take that I don't have or something like that. Like I want to hear the other opinions from the community. And I look at something like Marvel's Avengers and I'm like, yo, the Spider-Man DLC, that's a shady move. Like nobody feels good about that. Nobody but Sony, and then all the like PlayStation fanboys who just like love it when other people don't get content, you know? And like
Yeah.
and we can you know, we can plant our banner and die on that hill if we want to, that it's all the PlayStation fanboys that are doing it. But when the 360 was the one raking in the big dollars in North America, okay, all of the Xbox 360 fanboys were the same way, being all excited about their exclusives and all the sales they were doing in America and all that stuff. So like as it swings back and forth, you're gonna have fanatics on both sides that are excited to see the other people lose, and you guys are dicks and we don't like you, okay? But like looking at something like that, it's just a bad move. It's not consumer friendly. And you look at the game itself, and they took superheroes, okay? Superheroes, the superheroes, okay? I mean, and I know there's some DC fans in the chat who might get a little unhappy about this, but for all intents and purposes, the main Marvel line of superheroes is the superheroes in North America right now. Like, there's some DC love, but Marvel is massive. And it's massive for a reason. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is huge, and it's popular, and the movies make millions constantly. Every single time one comes out, people are hyped about it. So you look at this game, developed by a team under Square Enix, you know, has all the Marvel money, all the Square Enix money behind it, all the Sony money from the Spider-Man exclusive, and all the time in the world to make this incredible game. And you get a game where Thor's hammer, when you hit a metal robot, okay, it just goes thunk, and like it makes it makes a noise that exciting.
It's all, please upgrade the metal in your hammer in order to progress. Oh, buddy.
Like,
why?
How do you get from all that money and all that talent and all of that incredible source IP to Thor's hammer going thunk? How do you get there? I don't get it. I mean, is this a game either of you will ever purchase, even if they make it better somehow? Even if they make a more compelling RPG grind? Because right now it's terrible. I mean,
I'm good.
If it was $10, I'd buy it.
yeah, maybe.
Just a quick like campaign playthrough.
Yeah.
Romp through, experience the story.
I would rather watch somebody play it than play it myself. It's one of those games, I think, for me.
That's all I'm doing with the game.
Yeah.
I watch people stream it, but it doesn't look like something I would have fun playing, especially for $60.
Yeah, dude. I love the Marvel universe. I think the story's pretty cool from what I've seen, but the whole needing upgrades for your like, they're superheroes. Why do they? What kind of upgrades? Like the only it makes sense for like Tony Stark, I guess, but like other than that, why? Thor's a god.
It would make sense if it were a Batman game and you could like find parents, but like looking at a game like this, you know, like there's no room for RPG upgrades. There's just not, you know? Like this is a game where your superheroes should be super and they should be awesome. And even a game like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, where you had like a almost Diablo-like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Diablo. I know Joker is because we've talked about Diablo a couple of times, but like you had a Diablo-like gameplay loop where it's an ARPG and it's top-down, and there's a compelling RPG grind behind it at least, and there's multiple item slots and cool unique modifiers for your character, and that's cool. Like, they didn't even get that right. It's like you legit just hit walls in the campaign where you can't even just keep playing the campaign if you want to, because you have to go grind some, like, random mission off to the side the same, like, few times over. Like,
it's about the third one?
Yes.
The one that just came?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even fun anymore, you know? They've found a way to take something that, like, they already had a great system for in place in a game that came out back in, like, 2008 for the GameCube, and I think it came out on the PlayStation 2, maybe?
It came out...
Really?
PlayStation 3? Was it PlayStation 3? Yeah, it was PlayStation 3.
Are you talking about
Ultimate Alliance? Yeah, Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 did come out on PlayStation 3, I believe.
It was PlayStation 3, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Xbox 360, and then something else I don't remember. But.
Yeah. I know one of them was on the GameCube for sure. But, I mean, you look at games like that, and it's like, they did it so well back then, and it didn't have all the online interconnectivity like you have nowadays, and it didn't have, like, all the, like, extra microtransaction stuff, and it was so fun. I played probably, like, a solid 60, 70 hours of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, too. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, dude. That game was awesome. I loved that game. And I was young when it came out, so I didn't see it for like I wasn't looking at it from a like a mechanic standpoint or anything. I was just like, oh, superheroes, Pog, like. But yeah, I love that game too.
It was cool too. Like you're like, I have all these different superheroes to choose from, which is cool. And then like yeah, I played. I don't remember what the third one's called for the Switch. I bought it. I paid full price for that game because I was so stoked for Ultimate Alliance, and I was like, this is not Ultimate Alliance. I don't want any. I don't want this.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order.
There you go. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, like as far as the fight scenes and like the actual combat inside of the game, like the actual gameplay of it was pretty fun. The boss fights were varied. It was unique. It was interesting. But again, it missed that good RPG grind feeling. It didn't have a satisfying like progression loop at all. And I think that the Marvel's Avengers game suffers from a similar issue, aside from the myriad of other issues that game has. Like the progression is just unfun and uninteresting. So how do you take a game like that and make it more interesting? I think for starters, make it actually sound like you're hitting something hard when you're hitting something with Thor's hammer. I think there's some definite audio issues, and I am going to plant my banner on that hill and die on that hill holding the flag up because it's bad. When you hit someone with the power of Thor's hammer and you're a Thor, it should sound like you just blasted them. You know what I mean? Like it should sound more exciting than me saying blasted them, and it didn't. It doesn't right now. You know,
Damn.
and it's disappointing. So
It goes donk.
You look at a game like that's now got under 1,000 concurrent players on Steam that could have been one of the biggest launches of the year just because of the IP that it has attached. And where did they go wrong? We've already discussed the audio issues. We've already discussed an unsatisfying gameplay loop. Is there anything else that they could have done to push this forward in a better way?
Nothing I could think of off the top of my head. Those are the two ones that I gravitated to for sure. What we already discussed.
And so my next question is looking at something like that, and I agree with you. I can't think of anything else. That's why I asked you guys, is because I'm out of other ideas for like what they could do better.
That's about it for me.
In a landscape like the current gaming landscape, where there are so many live service options, is those two mistakes enough to kill a game?
I would think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think since launch, this is probably the first time I've talked to anybody about Marvel's Avengers. So
me too.
Exactly.
I think if it isn't enough to kill a game, then it should be, you know. And as consumers, we should really like stick it to them for that kind of thing. Like, obviously, not everyone's gonna band together and boycott it or anything, but like, I think they should know that where they messed up with it, you know.
Yeah. And I think they do know, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them do some kind of a reboot of the series at some point, but the state that it's in now, it's not worth playing, it's not fun, and it's definitely not worth $60. And I think that they kind of came in at the right time to get a lot of sales because we're in the middle of kind of a pretty big gaming drought as everyone's waiting for the new consoles to release, and a lot of developers have pushed their game releases back to coincide with the release of the new consoles. And I think that they were in a good position to make a lot of money, but I think with a little bit more development time, they would have gotten a lot more value out of their game. Because I think right now it's left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and it makes me sad to see it. But
you know,
go ahead.
They could have took it and just done the same thing they did with Spider-Man, and I would have been so stoked. Like just running around New York playing as any of the Avengers. Can you imagine how cool that would have been? Why did we have to give him gear and make it linear? And I don't know. I think that's kind of what I expected when I saw that game get announced, and it definitely took a turn.
I would even go so far as to say, give me Lego Marvel Avengers with normal characters. Don't use a different storyline. Don't remake the set pieces. Just give me like high definition Marvel characters with flashy ability effects. I'd be happy.
That's right.
Do y'all like the Lego games? Quick shout out. Do you like them?
I love the Lego games.
Yeah.
I think that the Lego games, personally, are some of the best, most family-friendly, fun, entertaining games that have come out, period. Like, I can't think of any series that has been so consistently good, aside from, like, Lego The Hobbit, which was okay. But all of the other ones I've played have been incredible. Have you guys had a bad experience with the Lego game?
No, dude.
The only thing that's kind of hard is if you play those Lego games split screen, the camera can be, like, super nauseating. Because it's like, it moves all over the place. And you're like...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They don't actually split it. They like merge the cameras in this weird way. It's strange.
So like if you're like this, right? And then like a character decides to move up, it will like move the camera and it like constantly is moving all over the place. So it's like really like weird to watch, but game's fantastic.
Yeah. So aside from minor camera issues, which I mean, some would argue is part of the fun because I love tilting my friends. I mean, incredible games, you know. And
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers comes out and just swings and misses because I think it has everything in there except fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You know, like I look at a game like that and I'm like, art team, you guys are absolutely incredible. Voice actors, some of the best. You know, don't get me wrong. Like the set pieces are great, the explosions and all that stuff, and like all of the actual graphics of the game is incredible. But where's the fun? Where's the soul?
Out the window.
It's not there. And I think that that's a good way to segue into our next game that absolutely oozes soul. And this is one that I think you're pretty familiar with, Spicy Rocket League. You play a little bit of Rocket League?
I've played an unnecessary. I've played a lot. Yes, I've played too much Rocket League.
Now, I played a lot on PS4, but I haven't played recently. I haven't played in a long time, and I'm very bad at Rocket League. I see people who play it well, and it makes me want to play, but I'm bad, so I don't. So, like, give us a little bit about like Rocket League and their like live service strategy, and kind of what you like that they do, what you don't like that they do.
So yeah, Rocket League. I mean, they added a Rocket Pass like a year or so ago, maybe over a year now. Time is so weird right now. I don't know how
It's
far
COVID
gone,
hours. It
but
could have been last week. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
But they added Rocket Pass, which is, your basic. They have free things that you could win if you just play it, or you could buy it and then you get stuff every level.
Mhm.
It would always just be like cosmetics and stuff like that. But it was really cool. I think Rocket League has always been very good about adding a lot of events to get you specific things in the game. Like they'll do they did like a whole like 80s event where you like played games and you unlocked cassette tapes, and then you could use cassette tapes to buy like WWE stuff for your car, or like the Back to the Future things and all that stuff. So they've always been really good about adding a lot of that stuff. But recently, within I think a month or so, they made the game free to play. So you could just get it on anything, you play it for free. And I think because of the success of like the Rocket Pass and all that stuff, because now they're making even more money on top of what they were making before, it just makes sense that they made it free to play. And there's a lot of different things that, like, obviously you can buy the Rocket Pass, and then you get crates. You could buy keys to open up crates and all that stuff. So there's so many different ways they can make money off the game. I think that going free to play makes sense because it's a fun game, and it's tilting if you want to get to like high tier gameplay, but it's very fun.
How much was that game before?
20?
$20?
Yeah.
20 bucks?
I believe it was
I
20.
bought it so long ago, I don't even remember.
Yeah, $20.
So I
Man,
look at a game like Rocket League, and I mean, this is one of the most fun games, like just like pure fun games I think I've ever played. At least at the casual level. I mean, again, I am not a competitive Rocket League player. I cannot fly. I cannot do the crazy boost jumps, and like I will not hit it a direction that I want to hit the ball. I won't score goals. For anybody not familiar with Rocket League, who's listening, watching, anybody who's here, like you play soccer with cars in a massive arena, and you can fly using boosters. And it's incredible. It's brilliant. You know, like whoever thought FIFA plus Destruction Derby, you know, and you mash them together, like, and that is the recipe for success. I mean, they were right, and we had no idea. You know, we didn't know we wanted it until they showed it to us, and it's incredible, and it's so enjoyable and so fun, and you can play it with your friends, and you can play it casually, or you can play it competitively. And this is kind of where I want to take the conversation next, like the competitive aspect of live service games. How much do you think that having some kind of a rank system, some kind of competition, some kind of incentive to continue playing and improving at the game factors into how long people play the game?
Oh, immensely.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that would keep me competitively involved in a game. I want to see changes. I want to make sure the game that I'm playing competitively is being maintained in a way that keeps me wanting to play it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or even not, I guess. As long as they're doing something to it, like it's really cool to see that. When I first saw Rocket League, I felt like that was the most esports game I've ever seen in my life. Like it's just actually a sport in a sense, but like I don't know, it lines up so perfectly in my head for some reason. I just think it's so perfect for a competitive scene, specifically that game. But yeah, I think updates are good for
Yeah.
for competitive.
What rank are you in Rocket League, Spicy? If you don't mind me asking, do you know? Has it been that recent?
The last time I played, like seriously, I think I was like diamond something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I played in a lot of that game. But to get like past diamond was like I had to practice like trying to like do like crazy like carrying the ball while you're flying in the air and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I just didn't want to put the time into it, to be honest. So I kind of just stopped playing.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it's definitely this thing where you have to look at your time investment in things like competing competitively, finishing the battle pass, all that, and balancing that with other games that you want to play, everyday life, family, friends, like everything else that's going on, and you're kind of at a point where every single part of your day is now competing for your time because of how much time you have to invest in these live service games because they don't have a stopping point really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always some way that you can improve in Rocket League. There's always some way that you can improve your aim if you're playing like CSGO or Valorant or Destiny or anything like that, And you look at these games that are designed to keep you hooked to your screen as much as possible. And enough that Netflix actually released a statement when Fortnite started blowing up where they were like, we're at a point now where we're looking at how we can push Netflix forward to compete for screen time with Fortnite. And that's Netflix, I mean, I guarantee you nobody watching television 20 years ago was looking at video games going, we're going to be competing for screen time with cartoon building shooting game.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they weren't even counting on competing with Twitch,
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think it's super cool though. Like as somebody that I like to think I can manage my time well. I know when to step away from the screen, and I think having those games where I always know like, oh, I can just go back to this later. There's always something to do. That's really exciting for me as a gamer.
Yeah. So some other games that have a battle pass that I want to touch on. I'm going to kind of lump these in together. Rainbow Six Siege and Valorant. Both very competitive FPS games. I don't think Counter-Strike has a battle pass, but we'll throw that in here too. Speaking specifically to the competitive, improving your skill, trying really hard, learning mechanical skill, learning like very, very, very like high brain power like things to be able to play these games at a high level, like to the point where you see people do such complicated things and make it look so easy because they're so good at it that you're like, I can do that, and then you go in and you're not even close. I mean, how much do you guys enjoy games like this? They're really like hyper competitive, like on the edge of your seat, constantly sweating bullets, like FPS games.
I think it's cool if I'm not getting my ass handed to me every game. Like if there's some type of matchmaking system or like a skill-based matchmaking. I like skill-based matchmaking because I suck and I wanna play against people that suck like I do. I don't want to play against that guy that can build the Fort Knox in 2 seconds in Fortnite. I want to play somebody who's building little boxes in 10 seconds. That's
more your speed, yeah.
Yeah. So young guy reactions only work in Smash.
Exactly. And I wanna get your opinion on this one, Spicy, because I know that we've talked about skill-based matchmaking a little bit before and stuff like that. Like, I mean, do you like these kind of games, these hyper competitive, like constantly having to be aware of your positioning of every single thing that's happening and where all your enemies are in the lobby and all that stuff? Do you like that kind of gameplay?
I am 100% about it. True to me, I'm a huge FPS person. Like that's probably what I play 90% of the time is FPS. I really enjoy Valorant, even though I'm not good at mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
But I still play it like any chance that I get because I think it's very, very fun. Rainbow Six, I played that for a while too. I think Rainbow Six is really, really cool too. But yeah, I mean, there's something about it, bro. Like especially when you get that like your heart's racing and you're like it's like a 1v4. It's just you and you got to try to do something. Like I don't something about that.
The clutch.
That always really good.
Clutch games, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you mentioned Rainbow Six Siege because if nobody else mentioned it, I was going to here no matter what. There wasn't going to be a natural transition. It was just going to happen. And this
Rainbow
might be
Six.
This might be a hot take. Oh yeah, it's like, oh hey, I hope you're having a good day today. Rainbow Six Siege, by the way.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Like, but looking at Rainbow Six Siege, I look at this game and the way that they've continued to support it since its launch and their yearly passes and their content updates and their regular balance updates and how well their servers work, how well optimized their game is on every machine. And I know that people might not agree with this, but I firmly believe to this day, even as someone who doesn't play Rainbow Six anymore regularly, that Rainbow Six Siege is the best example of a competitive, like team-based FPS shooter that you can achieve. I think that it is the gold standard for FPS games, bar none. I don't think that there's any game who does better optimization, better servers, better regular content updates, better patches, and more community involvement than the Rainbow Six Siege team. I have not found one. I mean, do you
Another
guys?
thing about Rainbow Six Siege that I'd like to add too is that game had the craziest like comeback
Mhm.
from its launch. They and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that they're a live service game. They kept updating their game. They made the game free every Tuesday or something on Steam, and it just built enough traction and got to where it is now. But yeah, that game is definitely an incredible shooter. I think I've put the most time out of any shooter into that game, for sure.
Definitely. Have you have you played, you said you played a little bit of Rainbow Six Spicy. Did you play any ranked? Because personally I did not. So like I didn't get to deal with any of like the insane toxicity or anything, but
No, I played Siege for a while on Xbox, and then I've played it on PC. I definitely enjoy it way more on PC,
Mhm.
but I definitely have not played ranked. I don't think I'm nearly good enough to play that game ranked, so I just avoid it.
Same. And I look at the competitive scene for games like these where it's like all of your improvements are going to come from like you start out with macro improvements, like significant things like crosshair placement, you know? Like you got to learn to like aim at the right height as you go around corners. You got to learn to stop moving before you shoot in games like Valorant. You got to like learn things like that. You got to learn to check all of your kill holes in Rainbow Six that you've made through the wall and make sure that you're not being peeked through a kill hole, use your cameras properly, and then you start to learn like the micro improvements, you know? Where you're looking and you're constantly being aware of where every single person is on the map because you have that in your subconscious now to just check for these things. And you remember that you saw someone ping up on the map here because your teammate spotted them. So as you go to peek this corner, you swing back a little wider around the corner so that you can get a longer view and maybe see them before they see you, depending on what angle they're peeking you from. And I'm like, it's time for me to stop talking about this because it drives me insane how much I have to worry about when I play these games. I
Yeah.
love these games. It's too much for me. You know? Like, I'm not even bad at mouse and keyboard. It's too much for me.
Is that why you like it though? Like because it's that feeling of too like do you like the too much feeling? Is that what's so intriguing about it?
I like winning. That's it.
Same.
You're not winning? You're
It
not playing to
doesn't
win it?
it doesn't get literally any more interesting than that for me. I mean, it's like if I'm winning, I'm happy. If there's a game that I can beat somebody else at, you know, and then like default dance their body, let's do it. We like that, you know? That's what I live for in the video games. I like
I've had to
progression, I
get
like winning.
Yeah, dude. I've had to get used to losing and being happy, so I see it on both sides. I get happy when I win. I get extra happy when I win, but
Yeah.
I can play it and have fun, and I don't really need to win. I think that game is incredible, though. That's all I got to say about that one.
So a game that I have to bring up, it's not a battle pass game, but we're moving on into kind of like the live service area that's away from battle pass, away from just like competitive shooters, you know, that have a battle pass included. And I want to talk about Anthem. And this is a game that people have actually said that Marvel's Avengers is this year's Anthem per se. I don't know how many of you remember Anthem, but it was designed to come out and be a third-person shooter that was kind of a Destiny competitor, essentially a team-based like open world RPG game, well, like pseudo open world RPG game, and like loot progression and dungeons and raids type deal. And I think they call them strongholds in Anthem. And
Yeah.
a lot of people played the beta, and it seemed pretty 50-50 split. There were people who were riding the hype train full send, and they were ready for another game like this, and the graphics were beautiful, and it ran relatively well on their machine because they had a 1080 Ti in there, so they could run it at 60 frames in 1080p. And I mean, realistically, it was terribly optimized, but it was a gorgeous game, and it was fun for the like 6 hours that you played the beta. It was cool, but then it came out, and it was a disaster. Did you guys play Anthem?
I purchased it.
Full price.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm sorry too.
Did you play it, Spicy?
Yeah, I did.
You did play it. Did you have the EA Play? Was that like on there?
Absolutely. EA Play, yeah.
So you got it included in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was $15 a month for the EA Play Premium, correct?
I believe so.
I think that's how much it was. So would you say for $15 you got your money's worth on Anthem?
Yeah, because I played it with friends. So I had two friends that I played it with. So like you said, we all got EA Play specifically to try out Anthem, and we all had fun playing what we like. I think it's probably playing with friends, because if I played it myself, I probably just been like, this is terrible. But I mean, it's not a great game. It's a game.
Yeah,
You know,
it
something
is.
there.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I had a couple buddies I played with, and it made the experience a little better. But I would never see myself playing that game alone.
Yeah. And I think that we might eventually, assuming they do it right, they have been confirmed to be working on an Anthem 2.0 at this point, and we don't know when that's coming out. I'm expecting sometime mid 2021, as much as I wanted it to be mid 2020, because that would have been before the new World of Warcraft expansion, whenever that comes out, which is also delayed. But I'm expecting mid 2021 at this point for Anthem 2.0. They'll probably show it off sometime like next year in early, like February, January, perhaps. And I would not at all be surprised to see the type of situation we saw with Rainbow Six. I don't think it'll ever get to that level, but where it comes back in as like, hey, we're rebooting this as long as they release it free and not as a paid update, okay? And got to be real specific about that, because if they try to charge us more money for that game, people going to be angry. People going to be big angry. It's going to be a bad time, all right? But
Don't do it.
I could see it coming back similar to how Rainbow Six Siege did, where at the launch it was people were very underwhelmed. It was not great. It was not incredible. And then they just kept on pumping time and energy and investment into it because they knew that they had something good. They have something here that they can work with. They've laid the groundwork. They've laid the foundation. They just got to make everything look nice on top of it. And I would not be surprised to see Anthem do this, because I think Anthem has some of the best flying and combat mechanics of any game. I just think they need to refine the end game, and they have a banger of a video game on their hands.
I can see that, dude.
Because
absolutely,
even the new Marvel's Avengers, I don't think flying was as fun in that game.
It's EA, bro. They don't. Just saying the word free, you freak them out right now. So they'll definitely probably charge.
They're coming after us now.
They've reached out to their contacts in the CIA. I'm on a watch list now for saying EA releasing a game for free or an update for free. So if you guys,
right, like if they do release it next year, it's probably going to need some kind of next gen version of it. So PS5, Series X. I'd have to assume they would charge for it. They'd probably like Anthem, like some kind of subtitle after Anthem. But yeah, I mean, there's like parts of it that should be really cool, but there's like you said, there's really no end game content. So once you beat the game, you're kind of like, all right, cool. There's nothing else for me to do, and you just kind of get bored.
Yeah.
So looking at another game that's kind of had a similar story at its launch, Sea of Thieves. Have you guys played Sea of Thieves? Joker, I know you have.
Yes.
Aye, Captain.
My man.
I be sailing the seas.
Yeah. So me and Joker loaded up Sea of Thieves last week for the first time in a long time. And Sea of Thieves was another game that people looked at launch and they were like, this game does not have enough content to keep me interested, but there's something really cool here. There's something so magical about just like how good the waves look and how fun it is to just be sailing on the waves with your boys, like firing cannons at people, playing that one song, like the one slow like sea shanty that's like super good, that just goes super hard, you know, like that song. And you look at this and you look at this game that has such an incredible foundation and just needs more content. And Microsoft has finally hit a point where they're like, I think we have enough in here that we can be proud of this and be happy with it. And I think that all the updates to the game have really pushed it forward to that point now where it's in a solid state and is a game that I would actively recommend to people to play. I think it's really fun.
Join our crew. Let's go.
Do you think Sea of Thieves would be at that state now if it wasn't for Twitch?
No.
Yeah. No.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Like, I've always enjoyed that game though. Before I even saw it get bigger on Twitch, I thought that game was a lot of fun. I saw a lot of potential in that game, even on launch. I've always thought it was super fun.
I would actually attribute the success specifically to Summit 1G.
Summit 1G?
Yeah. Like, I mean, we talk about Twitch as a whole, but I mean, one of the big names on Twitch, arguably one of the biggest names on Twitch, and he kind of single-handedly brought Sea of Thieves back into the limelight because he started playing it after I think their second major update was when he was like streaming it a lot, and it gained a lot of notoriety and population because of that, and kind of like got thrust back into the limelight. And I think it's awesome to see people be able to do that.
He also introduced like a new type of play style in that game. The whole tucking yourself away and just robbing people blind without a ship, like that. It's crazy. It's so funny.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, check that out. It's hilarious.
Have you played Sea of Thieves, Spicy?
Yeah, I've played it a couple times with various groups of friends, and I mean it's a cool game. To me, Sea of Thieves is like not in terms of like the game, the way the game is, but it's like Minecraft for me. Like it's a cool game, but I feel like I don't ever really do anything in it, so then I just kind of get bored, and then I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's cool. It's definitely, it has a lot of cool things. There's a lot of cool things you can do in it, and like you said, they've been adding so much stuff to that game that they're constantly adding more things, which is really cool. I think it's definitely a cool concept and a cool game. It's just not really for me.
So, story time here. Joker and I were playing Sea of Thieves with another friend of ours, the Mad Hatter, and our other friend, Thunder. And Joker did, first of all, full pirate RP for the entire 5-hour session that we played Sea of Thieves. So mad props to Joker for that, for not breaking character one time over the course of 5 hours, even though my stream had already died and nobody was watching. He was just in it.
I'd be a pirate.
He was in it to win it. And he did that for the whole 5 hours, and it was amazing. But we had been sailing around for all these hours and gathering chests, and we were going to go turn all of them in. And we had 2 Ashen chests, which are apparently pretty rare. They get you some really cool exclusive cosmetics that are only for the Ashen chest, cool fiery cannons on your ship and stuff like that. Look awesome. And we had a couple of those, and we were fishing for keys. There's a quest that you can do, but Thunder, who's a pirate extraordinaire, pirate legend, he's master pirate here, okay? He was like, oh, you can just fish for the keys, it'll be fast, no worries, we got a couple in 10 minutes when we were doing it the other day. And I was like, okay. So we're there and we're fishing, and it's incredibly boring, like fishing always is in video games. And we didn't catch one for an hour. He was like, it'll be 10 minutes, no worries, the drop rate's 10%. So we're like, oh, we'll get these and be done, and then we'll all hop off for the night, and it's 3 a.m. at this point, 4 a.m. roughly, somewhere around there. I think it was 3 a.m.
Yeah.
when we
be late, Captain.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely late. And sure enough, who's the first person to catch a key? Your boy, Just Vince. First person to catch an Ashen key, pulls it up on the thing, and I am so excited, and I'm trying to pull it down off of my fishing line, because you when you catch something, you lift it up and then you look at it, and then you have to push another button to grab it. Okay, so to give you an update on the controls, it's left click to cast your line. Okay, it's F to grab the fish off of the line. What do I do as soon as I pull up the Ashen key that we've all been fishing for the last hour? I left click out of excitement, and I get ready to cast my line again. So I pull the fishing rod all the way back, and I'm like, oh no, guys, how do I stop it? Please, how do I stop it? And they're like, push F, push X, something, stop, just don't throw it. And I was like, it's not working. And I let go, and I threw it, and it was gone. And I yeeted that key so far, and it disappeared. And an hour of our work was out the window, and all those Ashen chests that we had were out the window. And everybody was just like, I can't believe that just happened. And Thunder actually clipped it, but he clipped it on his NVIDIA thing, so the audio is a little weird. Otherwise, I would have uploaded it. But oh my gosh, it's definitely
we knew the keys were there. There was hope.
Yeah.
It inspired me to see him throw the key away like that. I was ready to find another one.
Yeah. So we proceeded to fish for another hour and never ended up finding a key. But I mean, you look at games like that, and it's definitely a game where you make your own fun.
Yeah.
And as frustrating as it was when I threw away that key, I mean, those 5 hours of just sailing around with my boys and having a good time and playing pirate music and all that stuff. And we totally destroyed this ship that was way smaller than us, that I think just had one dude on it. And he had so much stuff, and we took all of it and turned it in.
I think most of our money that night came from that guy.
Yeah, it really did.
He was grinding, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And he typed in chat, he was like, why are you doing this to me? Or something like that. I felt
He's
bad.
Just like, why?
And I felt bad, but not nearly bad enough. And we turned in and got all his money. And games like that, I think there's a real case to be made for games where you make your own fun. And you kind of have a good time on your own. And you kind of invent your own sense of enjoyment with a well-made game with your friends. And I think that is largely in part, like you said, to the Twitch community and the kind of following that these games have. So, moving on, we mentioned World of Warcraft already, but MMO games, when you look at those kind of games as a service, there's some that are free to play, some that are subscription based, the big ones are World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars, off the top of my head. Those are the biggest 4 MMORPGs. These are kind of the OGs of games as a service, I think. They did it before FIFA, they did it before Destiny, they did it before even Call of Duty, all the way back as far as EverQuest. And you look at games like these that have kind of pioneered this idea of you're in a endless world and there is always something to do. Is this the kind of game that appeals to you?
Yes. I love those games. Absolutely, dude.
You love those games, but you said that you only play World of Warcraft to finish the campaign and then you're done.
That's how it was for a long time. Well, that's how it started being after I stopped liking WoW as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, man. I've gone through and I've looked for many another MMOs to no avail. That's why I keep going back to WoW, because I there's a little piece of me that still wants to play that game, still loves it, still wants to be a part of that world,
Hmm.
but I still can't bring myself to get any farther than hitting level 120 and logging off.
Yeah, I feel that. What about you, Spicy? Are you a connoisseur of MMOs in any way?
Not really. I used to play Guild Wars when I was in high school a
Nice.
little bit. But I don't know what it is. Like MMOs, it's never really been like my thing. I have a lot of friends that play them, and they've all tried to get me at some point to hop on. I think I've probably tried playing WoW like 6 times in my life, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I just don't. I don't. I think in my head it's such a time sink that I don't want to put the time into. So like, I just don't play it.
Yeah. And that's
Feel
something
that
else that
too.
we mentioned earlier, you know. You're looking at your time investment versus what you're getting out of it, how much you're enjoying it, and like how many other things you have to do in your day. And games like these are designed to be one of the main parts of your day, if not like this the second tier like main part of your day. Like in your week, you are supposed to be logging on to WoW enough to complete all of the stuff that you are able to complete that week so that you can have all of it done for when it resets for next week so that you can do it all again and just continue on this like gear conveyor belt, if you will, just constantly just churning out upgrades for your character and progressing in new ways. And it is designed to take up all of your time and keep you playing the game so that you feel like you need to keep going on the subscription.
Yeah,
So, looking at this, I think it's interesting that we've kind of seen MMOs kind of dying out a little bit. World of Warcraft is still
Mhm.
massive. Elder Scrolls does still have a bit of a following. Final Fantasy XIV has its place. They're all uniquely individual MMOs for a lot of different reasons that we're not going to dive too deep into. That could be its own podcast episode. Honestly, I could talk about MMOs for probably 10 hours without stopping. But
It's a good idea.
I look at these games and I'm like, these games are not designed for this landscape anymore. A lot of the people that I talk to that are still playing World of Warcraft actively are my age or older. There's not a lot of
Mhm.
like younger people getting started in these games because games like Destiny exist, because games like Fortnite exist, you know? Games that are free to start up, free to play, and you can get just as much enjoyment and all your friends can play them and it's not an issue. There's no like high barrier for entry because of skill-based matchmaking, which again, we could do an entire episode on that, but you look at it and you're like, are MMOs dying out? There's not nearly as many coming out, that's for sure. I
yeah.
mean,
I Yeah, dude. I think they are, unfortunately. It's like you said, all the people you know that still continue to play those MMOs are people that are your age, and I feel similar with the people that are my age. All the people I still know that play them are my age too. A lot of the people I see come into my chat or other streamers I see who I don't see anybody who's when I started playing WoW, I was probably like 11 or 12,
mhm.
and I don't see that anymore. I see 11 and 12-year-olds wanting to play Call of Duty or Fortnite, like these fast-paced shooters. I think there's a certain level of patience that goes into playing games like WoW, and I think that patience is dwindling in these newer generations.
Yeah, I would strongly agree.
Yeah.
Spicy, do you think that there's any room for MMOs in this new live service gaming landscape?
the it's hard, like, because kind of how you were saying, Joker, is patience and time. Like, if you right now, gaming is in an interesting spot that, like, well, I was kind of talking about why I've been playing Apex again, is cross platform.
Hmm.
Being able to play with your friends on no matter what platform they play on is fantastic. And you
Yeah.
have games like Fortnite, games like Warzone,
Hmm.
Apex, all these free games that you're like, I can just play with anyone now. It doesn't matter. Plus, like, for me, like how I said, I don't play World of Warcraft because of the time I have to put into it. But in my head, it's weird because like I can spend 4 hours playing Warzone, but because I've been playing so many different games in that 4 hours, I'm like, cool, I've spent my time like doing things. But it's
Yeah.
like if I play 4 hours of World of Warcraft, where I'm like, I've done like 3 things, I'm like, it's 4 hours of my life that I can't get back.
Yeah.
Uh, it's definitely weird. I think right now we're in a very like short attention span type mentality when it comes to like,
Yes.
your kids.
Most
So
definitely.
if it isn't something that they can just pull out on their iPad and play really quick, I don't think it's it's a very popular
Yeah,
choice for a lot of younger generation.
I think it's just all about like instant gratification right now. They want quick level ups, kills. This game's over. On to the next one. Like
Yeah.
let's. And then in WoW, you know, you might have to sit down and do a raid for over 2 hours, even longer sometimes maybe. And you know, and then there's the chance you don't even get what you want at the end. Like
Yeah.
it's people are I don't think there's a lot of people that don't want that anymore. They don't.
Yeah. And a game that we didn't have mentioned that I'm going to bring up and as a bit of a curveball is Escape from Tarkov, which also kind of took Twitch by storm for about a month there, I think, when they were doing the Twitch drops and all that stuff. It got quite a following on Twitch and really blew up into the mainstream after being a somewhat smaller game that Shroud played occasionally. But that's a game that I look at kind of similarly to how you look at World of Warcraft, Spicy Doom. And I look at Escape from Tarkov and I'm like, I do not want to play Escape from Tarkov because I don't want to spend 20 minutes managing my inventory in between missions.
Yeah.
I love the gun mechanics. I love the gameplay. I like going around and searching for things. And like, I'm not super crazy about the med system because it's a little overcomplicated in my opinion, but it's supposed to be a realistic simulator of like, you know, survival and trying to make it out and scavenge supplies and all that stuff. And I think it does it well, but I do not want to have to manage my inventory for that long. I mean, you get out of every game and you're playing a worse version of Tetris for 20 minutes trying to figure out what bullets you want to load into your gun and whether you want to put the hollow points in the top half or the bottom half of your magazine and all that stuff. And like, why do you care? Why should I care? You know, and I'm sure it's for somebody, but it's not for me. And that's fine.
And that's fair, yeah.
You know? And I think that that's a big part of why we're seeing MMOs dying out the way that they are is you're exactly right. It's just a lot of people don't have the time and don't want to put in the time to get minimal return on investment. Especially for a new player just starting out. There's so much to learn and such a high barrier for entry into MMOs now. I think that we're definitely going to continue to see that kind of live service game get pushed back by the wayside and see more of these like quick, in-your-face, immediate gratification, mobile game style games as a service continue to pop up. Because that's what people want now. So this is one that I haven't played personally, but Dead by Daylight. I know Joker plays it a lot. Do you play it, Spicy?
I've dabbled in some of it, but I don't play it very often, no.
So Joker, tell us a little bit about like your Dead by Daylight experience and how you've enjoyed it, because this is something that came out a couple of years ago now, I think, right? What's it been, like 3 years? I want to say
something like that. I'm not sure. I played it like when it came out. Maybe like I probably played about 3 games when it came out. I really recently started getting into it, like probably within the last like 2 weeks, because a lot of people wanted to play it for Halloween. A lot of community members are really involved in that game. It's super fun. I like it. They just added crossplay pretty recently, so you can play with all your console friends if you're on PC friends if you're on console. It's cool, man. And it's October, so
yeah,
cool spooky game for October, right?
'Tis the season for spoopy games for sure.
Spooky games,
most definitely. So, looking at games like that, you know, games where there isn't like a sense of progression in the same way that there is in Destiny or World of Warcraft, and there isn't like mechanical skill in the same way as Valorant or Call of Duty, but there is like the being better at evading, being better at hunting type of business in like in Dead by Daylight, and there's a real rush that you get from being hunted and escaping and hunting someone and catching them and all that, like that I think is very unique to this type of game, and I don't see it in any of the other games that we've mentioned so far. And I think that being able to take something like that is multiplayer in a live game as a service and introducing a unique mechanic and a unique rush that you can't get anywhere else is a great recipe for success.
Yeah, dude. I think Dead by Daylight, it's a super unique game to me. I don't know any game that is like that game, except maybe Friday the 13th or whatever, but that was kind of a failed endeavor, unfortunately.
What was it? There was another one that was not Aliens Colonial Marines. Wasn't there another Alien game after that?
You're talking about Predator?
Predator? Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's a PlayStation game?
Evolve.
Evolve, dude.
That's what I was thinking of.
That game was, I pre-ordered that game. I was so hyped for it. I really loved that game, dude. I don't care what anyone says, dude. That game was cool, man. Yes. But then they put it on PC, or like they reworked it on Steam or something and made it free, and it got weird. Yeah. I feel like that ruined it.
Yeah, it really fell off so hard. And I think that's the only game that like kind of touched a similar audience there, or like a similar style of gameplay. Yeah, and that's probably the closest we got to anything similar to Dead by Daylight.
You just
And
hit something in me, man.
yeah,
That's probably exactly where my love of DBD comes from.
was Evolve and how hyped
Yeah,
people were
dude.
for that game. Yeah. And I think that you're seeing an interesting thing with Genshin Impact that just recently came out where it's kind of the first one to take Breath of the Wild and introduce anime waifus and mash them together into one game. That is this jumbled mesh of gacha mechanics meets Breath of the Wild mechanics and party management and gambling and all that stuff, and it's like it's the perfect blend. And it's really the first one to do it, kind of like how Dead by Daylight, which wasn't exactly the first one, but it's the first one that really took off the way that it did. And I think that's why you're seeing Genshin Impact have the success that it does. Is the next Breath of the Wild clone that I can think of that's going to be coming out is that Phoenix Rising game that's coming from Ubisoft. And aside from that, there hasn't been anything in the landscape that's similar. And people loved Breath of the Wild. So this company that made Genshin Impact, I think it's Miyoho, I believe is how you pronounce it. I might be butchering that, so I'm sorry if I am. But they found something in their game and they were like, we look at Breath of the Wild, we think this is awesome, and I think we can find a way to transfer this into a live service environment well. Do you think they did?
Personally, I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I think it's cool. I tried it out and I was able to look past the gacha mechanics, and I actually feel like they offer a pretty consistent way of getting the materials you need for those 5-star characters and weapons and stuff. But yeah, I think they definitely transitioned very well into well, the game is still young, you know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what they do in the future before I make any like definitive decisions. But so far, I like it. I think they're doing a good job.
Have you been able to try Genshin Impact yet, Spicy?
No.
Is-
I haven't played it.
Is this a game that you have any interest in trying? When just surface level looking at it off the top of your head?
Not really. I didn't even play Breath of the Wild.
Really?
I know a lot of people keep like comparing the two, but I'm
I mean,
really.
it's not comparable to Breath of the Wild. I
No.
can tell you that. But
Oh yeah.
In the sense that there's nothing else quite similar to these two games specifically. Like I compare it to
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. It's a very loose comparison because it's the closest thing we have. That's about it. But I mean, I'm kind of curious, like going off on a tangent here. Why haven't you played Breath of the Wild? You have a Switch.
so good.
Anytime anyone is like, "Oh, do you have a Switch?" and I give them the same answer every time, like, "Yep," but I don't use it. I bought it when it first. I bought the Switch when it first came out, when it was like impossible to get.
Yeah.
Because I got a call from somebody at work and like, dude, somebody just returned one if you want to get it. And I like sped down to work. I was like, just because it's hard to get, I want it. And I bought it. And I bought Mario Kart, and I played Mario Kart a lot. But I have Breath of the Wild. I've played the first 30 minutes of that game, and I just didn't care to play any more of it. Like I
Man.
said, I didn't grow up playing Nintendo games.
Oh, okay.
I was a Sega kid.
Mhm.
So I was all Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage. And the only Nintendo console that I had at all growing up was a Game Boy and then a Game Boy Advance. But I just never really, I'm not a huge like Legend of Zelda fan or anything like that. So not that I think it's a bad game, I just don't have any attachment to it. So I just don't care enough to play them.
Yeah.
But
And again, hot take here because this is apparently the Hot Takes podcast. I would venture to say that Breath of the Wild was actually not as incredible of a game as most people thought it was. I just think that it was such a step forward for the franchise that the entire Nintendo fan base was so excited that Nintendo was doing something different for once, that they weren't just re-releasing the same reskin of the same game with a couple of different gadgets, and that they seriously pushed the series forward in a new direction that was interesting and fun to play, that they were like, this is the best game ever. And the truth is, it wasn't. It
I
just
agree with
wasn't.
you, dude. I think the Switch is like the console they're doing that for with almost like all of their franchises, dude. It's not even just Zelda. They've done it with that Smash, all these new fighters. It's crazy. What else? I mean, they've done it with
Not Pokemon, that's for sure.
R.I.P. dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pokemon, but
I'll say,
not
I'm
in
gonna,
a good way.
I'm
They
gonna
definitely
disagree.
changed it, but
Oh yeah, they did
Yeah.
change it. Yeah,
Not
I
in
don't
a
think
good
they've
way,
improved
though.
it. I don't
yeah,
think
it
they've
was a
improved it at all.
Step backwards.
I'll say
Uh,
you can make your Pokemon huge. It's a new Pokemon entry. Pay $60, please.
oh god, the expansion packs too, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, they might be good.
awful.
But still.
It's a Tetris BR game, so that's cool. You know.
Oh yeah,
I
that
love-
was fun.
you know,
I played
Tetris,
that.
that's fun.
Tetris BR. Have you guys played Tetris Royale? Chat, listeners, anybody out there, people who watch the YouTube VOD, if you haven't played Tetris Royale, play Tetris Royale. It's so good. It's so good.
It's free too, right? Free?
It's completely free with the subscription to Nintendo Online. So, because you gotta pay to be online, but it's cheap. It's like $30 for a year or something like that. If you haven't played it, play it. It took like Tetris, and it's like, here's you playing Tetris versus 100 people. And that rush that you get at the very end when you're sending lines over to the other person, it's the 1v1. I've won Tetris Royale 3 times, by the way. Pat myself on the back for that one because I didn't have to aim at people and I was able to do it. But it's so good. It's brilliant. I genuinely cannot think of another Battle Royale I have enjoyed more than Tetris Royale.
I stayed up really late many nights playing Tetris Royale, just in bed right before I go to sleep, dude.
Yeah.
That game is fun. In chat, Shoria brought up the new Mario Battle Royale. It has a similar style to that Tetris one. Have you heard about that? Yeah.
They announced it like a month or so ago.
How did I miss this?
It's like the same thing. It's a bunch of little. You can see everyone's boxes on the screen. The format looks almost identical, except you're doing Mario levels.
It's like older style Mario levels.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Is it like Mario Maker DLC?
No, it's its own. It's a standalone
game. Yeah.
Huh. I hadn't even heard about that. How did I miss this? Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research after the show, or somebody send me a link or something, please. Yeah. I had no idea there was a Mario Battle Royale coming out. That actually sounds kind of great.
It looks really cool. If it's anything like the Tetris one, it might be sick.
Yeah.
I think they announced it the same time they announced Mario 3D All Stars.
Does anyone know the name of that game?
I have no idea. But in the meantime, we're gonna keep moving along to our last live service game that we're discussing, and that's Overwatch. And this is a game that's kind of fallen off recently, but still has quite a large following, and I think really pushed esports forward in one of the most interesting directions I've seen by any company, and the idea of like the live service shooter like genre forward, and I like it a lot. It really like kicked off the hero shooter genre of FPS games. We saw Lawbreakers come out of this. We've seen Apex Legends come out of this. I'm trying to think.
Paladins, yeah.
Wait, what was that last one?
Paladins.
Oh yeah, true. Basically a Overwatch clone, essentially. I mean, yeah, very similar. And I mean, looking at a game like Overwatch, I think they did a lot of things right. It wasn't free to play, which raised a lot of eyebrows for some people, but most Blizzard games are not, short of Hearthstone and Here's the Storm. But looking at Overwatch, it had a $40 price point for a multiplayer game, which when you had Call of Duty coming out that year, it was multiplayer only and released at $60, you know? Or that might not have been the same year, but I know Call of Duty, was it Black Ops 4 that was multiplayer only? Didn't have a campaign?
Black Ops 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So you look at a game like that retailed at 60, and then you look at a game like Overwatch that you could get for 40, and you get all the content in the game. I mean, that's more value. No matter which way you slice it, that's more bang for your buck. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, all of the loot boxes in game, all of the cosmetics you can earn just by playing. Just by leveling up, they give you a loot box every time you level up. And and like one of the changes that they made partway through the game's life cycle was they actually weighted it so that you would have a higher chance to get the like cosmetics that you didn't already collect before you got duplicates, because the duplicates would turn into coins that you could use to buy more boxes and stuff like that, like or buy individual like things that you wanted to purchase, kind of like crafting materials in Apex. You could just select a cosmetic and craft it. And they did like holiday events and all that stuff. And I think that this is one of the better examples of live service games personally. I think the $40 price point was kind of iffy. It's gone on sale for $20 since then. I don't think it's free to play currently. Do we know? No. I'll say it's not right now, right? Yeah, it's still a pay to play. But looking at a game like Overwatch, the main thing I wanted to highlight here was their esports and how esports has been such. What's up?
The Overwatch League?
Yes, absolutely. Overwatch League. I've watched Overwatch League. I watched a lot of Overwatch League during the first 2 seasons that it was available. I was a big New York fan, New York Excelsior, and I really liked their colors. I have the Brigida skin in game for like the New York team, and I think it's absolutely incredible. I think that their production value is insane. I love the way that they're tying it to cities, just like, actual sports teams. I like that it's broadcasted on ESPN to be able to tap an audience that you typically wouldn't be able to hit, because people look at stuff like that, and like the Counter-Strike esports league that's now being broadcast on ESPN as well, and that sort of thing. Like,
I didn't know that. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got their own little MLB looking logo too with Tracer with her guns.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, yeah.
all that thing. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it really it kind of makes me sad to say, but I really think that this is the last game that had that real Blizzard touch to it, you know? Like it had that like before Blizzard became Blizzard Activision completely. I think this was the last example of Blizzard at their best. Was making Overwatch. And I think it's an absolutely incredible live service game that has been supported very well with continuous updates, balance patches, major shifts to the meta. And it's a very high skill ceiling game that you can also play very casually with their arcade modes.
Yeah.
Do you guys play Overwatch, both of you? Like with any regularity?
I don't anymore, but I used to a lot. That was probably like my main game for about a year.
Yeah. I know they did an entire like game mode for Christmas called May's Snowball Fight, and you just shoot people with snowballs out of May's gun, you know? And like it's on an ice map and all that stuff. And like I think it's things like that that really keep people coming back to these live service games. It's things that they can't do anywhere else that are just fun with friends that you can have a good time with and enjoy and like get some kind of reward. Typically they have like Christmas themed loot boxes and stuff like that, stuff exclusive to certain time periods of the year that make you want to come back and play the game during that time period. And I think it's a really consumer friendly way of, you know, getting people hooked onto their game and making them want to continue playing it.
I agree with you.
So-
Especially that year-round stuff. It always gives them like an indicator, like, hey, it's Christmas. Overwatch is doing this event now. Maybe it's time for me to get back into it.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, and their skins are absolutely incredible. Are you guys purchasers of skins and cosmetics in game, things that don't affect gameplay specifically? Do you guys like to support games in that way? We'll start with you, Spicy. How you feel about cosmetic skins for purchase?
So kind of take it back to a game we talked about a while ago. I have bought so many keys to open up crates in Rocket League
Oh gosh.
that it's not even funny. I've probably, no joke, have spent collectively probably like $300 on buying keys to open up crates in Rocket League. And after that, I've stopped. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy skins or anything anymore. I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, it has no impact on your gameplay. You're not worse off for not buying these keys for the crates or anything like that. It's just something to, you know, support the developer because you want to or because you want something to look cool that's exclusive to having it.
Yeah.
What about you, Joker? Are you a purchaser of skins in game?
Yeah. I used to play League of Legends for a long time.
Big oof.
I've probably spent even more than you have on keys on skins in League. Yeah, dude. But you know what? At the time when I was playing League, that was cool to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy it. I wanted to look different. Whatever. You know, and to this day, Valorant, I've dropped like $20 on some skins in Valorant. I like a little flair, man. It keeps things spicy, right?
Absolutely.
Finger guns.
Yeah. Yeah. And
going to Overwatch though. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I've played a lot of Overwatch, and I think that I've done more to try to get skins in Overwatch than I have in other games. They for a while were doing like, if you play Heroes of the Storm, you could get a Diva skin, or you could get, I think it was a Genji skin. I literally played Heroes of the Storm only to get skins for Overwatch, and then I never played it again.
Yeah. And I think that that's something really interesting that Blizzard has done. They also gave away a mount in World of Warcraft for playing Hearthstone. They've given away things in Diablo for playing Heroes of the Storm, all that stuff. Things to try to like incentivize players to reach out and touch their other live service games that typically they wouldn't try. And I think that's interesting and a cool idea. But realistically, I think the reception is going to be mainly what Spicy's reception is. You know, if you're not someone who's already playing Heroes of the Storm, you're probably not the target audience. That's a game that's been out for a long time now, and it was kind of neat, and it's really casual and fun, but it's not for everybody. And your Overwatch crowd is not the crowd that's typically going to want to grind Heroes of the Storm.
I really tried to like that game. Like really, really tried. I forced myself to play it many times. I couldn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, and and this might be a hot take to some people, but I don't think this is that hot of a take. But I think if Heroes of the Storm had been a similar like perspective to Paragon or Smite, the third person over the shoulder view, where you can like aim around yourself like with your weapon instead of being an isometric viewpoint, and like had given you a little bit more attachment and agency with your character, I think that game would have been an incredible success. being
Yeah,
able to
no,
actually run around as a massive Diablo, like just like running around like just like smashing everything.
I
I
could
mean,
see how that would give it a little kick for sure.
I genuinely believe that would have pushed that series forward to new heights, but it would have been a lot harder to make. So I understand why they didn't take it that direction. But
You just brought up Paragon, and what happened to that game? Does that still exist? Did they
Is
stop
it
development?
right?
so Epic Games stopped development on Paragon after they saw all the money that they were making from Fortnite, and they went, "Why would we ever develop anything but more Fortnite? We're making so much money from Fortnite." So they dropped Paragon, but then they opened up all the assets for Paragon, I believe. So there are 2 or 3 different companies that are making. I know of 2 for sure that are making basically reboots of Paragon. The first one is Fault, which is already available on Steam. It's a reboot of sorts, but they've got some interesting like microtransactions and stuff. And then the one that I'm excited about a little bit more is Predecessor. The UI isn't nearly as polished as Fault, but I like the gameplay and the item store a lot more. So if you're any Paragon lovers out there like me, because believe me, I loved that game so much. I played so much Paragon when it first came out. There is hope,
That
but
game
not
was
yet.
sick. I was like excited for that. I was like, I'm done with League now. This might be another MOBA that I can sink my claws into. And then
Yeah.
it just like I forgot about it one day, and then I never really like looked into it more. And you totally just reminded me that was a thing.
And now it's dead.
And now it's gone. Yeah, I guess that's how things work now.
They killed Unreal Tournament because of Fortnite. Also, they were working on Unreal Tournament, and because Fortnite made them so much money, they're like, "No, we don't need to."
My soul,
So,
dude.
That's all they care about, bro.
My soul.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Unreal. I played so much Unreal Tournament. Like what was it? Unreal Tournament 2000, I think was the last one that I played a lot of. I think that's what it was called. But gosh, dude, so much love in my heart for arena shooters. So there's some upcoming live service games. We're not going to spend too much time on these realistically because we are nearing the end of our time slot here. But one that I want to talk about that's a big one that's coming from Amazon Game Studios is New World. And Amazon just this last week announced that they were shutting down their other live service game, Crucible, because it was a hot pile of crap and like not good at all and not interesting and not new or inventive in any way. It's like they took the worst parts of MOBAs and the worst parts of third-person shooters and dumped them into one uninspired, unimaginative video game. And it was cool for all of about 10 minutes while you were learning the new characters, and then it was just boring. So have you guys seen any gameplay for New World? Because that's their new MMO that's coming out from Amazon.
I haven't seen anything.
You said you've heard about it, Spicy?
No, I've never even heard of it until I saw it on like the document. I had never heard of it before.
Oh, well, we're bringing new games to the masses then. You heard it here first, okay? New World is a new MMO coming from Amazon, and originally they had it designed that it was going to be like open world PvP, like when you kill someone, they drop all their loot and you can pick it up and all that stuff, but they canceled that because casual players were complaining about it because they didn't like that they could lose all their hard work when that was like a core design mechanic of the game, and there have been open world PvP MMOs like that. I mean, looking at RuneScape, where it was full loot, Albion Online, another familiar one, like Rust type games where you kill someone and you can take their loot, you know, like that style of game was what they were going for, and they kind of had to go back to the drawing board and be like, this isn't going to work, we got to do something else. And they just had to delay it from, it was supposed to release in May, and then I think they delayed it to August, and then delayed it to next year. So Amazon Game Studios looking kind of rough, you know. But at the same time, if anybody has enough money to pump into a game until it works, it's Amazon.
True. Yeah.
So
the money company.
One of the things that we discussed, though, was that MMOs might be kind of a dying breed here. Do you think that there's room for another MMO in the current landscape of gaming right now?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I genuinely do not believe there is, you know?
Yeah.
Even for the action crowd, you have Black Desert, which, while it's not a game that I want to play, you know, because I don't find the gameplay loop satisfying or interesting in any way. Like Black Desert Online just isn't for me. I don't like the enhancement core system and all that. It's a solid action combat MMO. The combat is incredible and the graphics look great. And I think that's the only thing that New World has over a game like World of Warcraft or Guild Wars or Final Fantasy, is that it's action combat. And even then, I think it's the most boring, uninteresting version of action combat that I've seen. So you said you hadn't heard of it, Spicy. Had you seen the Combat Joker for New World?
No.
All right, so I'm going to break it down.
Okay.
Like, basically, you get a weapon, and your weapon has 3 skills. And you can swap to another weapon, and that weapon has 3 skills.
And they're all set? Like...
They're linked to your whatever weapon you have equipped. Does that sound more interesting to you than the current MMOs available?
Hell no, dude. I'd rather play WoW and go be a Death Knight and have I just face roll on all my keys, dude. That
And just
no,
win. Just do
yeah.
massive damage and enjoy yourself.
I want more than 3 abilities.
As someone who doesn't play MMOs, Spicy, I mean, does that sound interesting to you at all? Looking at the combat, if you saw a gameplay video,
That just sounds boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I look at the delay and I'm like, I'm hoping that you guys are taking this delay and doing everything you need to do with it, because I think the MMO could really use a fresh injection of like somebody pushing the genre forward, similar to how Breath of the Wild did for Legend of Zelda games. Like if we saw that level of reinvention with the next MMO that comes out, I would be more than happy to play a new MMO. But I don't think that there's anybody who realistically has the time or resources that they're willing to invest to be able to make a game at that level.
No, especially when you could just make something quick that has some kind of BR type function or something where you're like constantly getting stuff and make way more money. It just doesn't really make sense.
Especially when you could make Battle Royale Mario Party and call it Fall Guys and make
There you go,
millions.
Imagine a Blizzard battle royale.
Okay, I have been saying since
Oh,
since
dude.
Overwatch came out, okay? I've been saying this for so long, and I don't think that Blizzard's gonna make it, okay? And I see Grinth live in the chat. He's my mod. He knows. He's heard me say this before. I have no idea how Blizzard has not already released a StarCraft Battle Royale game. A first-person shooter StarCraft Battle Royale. I genuinely have no idea. The IP is so deep and so rich and so interesting, and there is so much content that they could put in there that would be fun to mess around with in a first-person shooter environment. I have no idea how they haven't done StarCraft Battle Royale yet. I can't fathom it.
I feel like Blizzard's really weird when it comes to StarCraft, because I feel like it's something that people really like how the amount of time it took for StarCraft 2 just to come out, and then they like it's just insane. I used to play StarCraft all the time when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like in elementary school, I was playing StarCraft. So I've always like I don't play it now because I just my head can't just comprehend it. But yeah, that'd be awesome. I would absolutely play like a BR set in like the StarCraft universe. That would be.
I don't know a single person who wouldn't at least try it. I mean, honestly here, like Blizzard game, first of all, I mean modern Blizzard, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. You know, there's a lot of hate for modern Blizzard right now, and that's relatable. And I know, yeah, Grinth live in the chat, he's my mod. He knows he doesn't really like battle royale games anymore in general. But like
I don't either, dude. But imagine like
but even just the idea of StarCraft in a first-person shooter setting like that, where it's competitive and you're so immersed and you get to see the whole world and all like the structures around you and everything like that, the map could be incredible. There's so much great content that could come out of a StarCraft Battle Royale if they just do it, but I don't think they will. But if they would, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either, but if they would.
Exactly, you know.
Cool, it'd be cool.
Yeah. So
all right.
we had a couple of games listed on our notes that we wanted to talk about. Are there any of these that you guys really want to like highlight or mention here that you're particularly excited about for upcoming live service games that you think have a lot of potential?
Vince, you got me hype for Godfall, dude. I'm excited for Godfall.
I think a lot of people should be hyped for Godfall. I think it's going to be very cool. I think that they're doing some shady DLC stuff with it that I don't like, but I think that the base game and like the core experience of the game is going to be really fun. I don't like that they have like 3 tiers of levels that you can buy the game based on what content you're going to get, and most of it's like extra cosmetic stuff, but there's like an expansion pass and stuff that's going to be coming for later content. And I get that because again, live service game. But I think at its core, that is the kind of game that I want. I absolutely love like fantasy setting, like third person, like Dark Souls-esque, Devil May Cry-esque gameplay. I love it. I absolutely enjoy it. It's under 2K Games.
Off the top of your head, it's
Godfall.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Whoever you are, developers, please do a good job with this game. It looks so cool. You can do really good things with it. I promise. Just don't ruin it, please. No. It's good. It would be a tragic loss.
I said
game potential.
I said 2K. They're under Gearbox. Sorry.
Gearbox.
Yeah,
okay.
They're under Gearbox, but Counterplay Games. This is the dev studio.
Well, Gearbox, don't mess this game up. Yeah. Okay. Do a good job. Give the people what they want.
Have you seen any of Godfall, Spicy Doom? Have you looked into that at all?
I've seen a little bit of it. I see it, but it's PS5 and PC only, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
we know how we
Xbox gamer, correct? I remember.
I mean, I would play it on PC. Um, but my friend is like super stoked for that game, and he always posts things about it. I don't know. It's cool. Looks cool. Visually, it looks cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think graphically it looks incredible. But again, I mean, if MMO, RPG, ARPG type games are not your thing, then there's nothing about this game that's going to draw you in versus the other games. You know, like there's
Yeah.
nothing coming near to the table with this. I really do just want more of the same stuff with flashier graphics. I really do. You know, give me a new cool item. Give me something that I haven't seen before, quite like that, but with the same core mechanics, and I'm more than happy to pay for it. So what about you, Spicy? Looking at the list of games here, we got a couple of games listed. Is there anything that you want to highlight here before we close out?
Yeah, man. I mean, uh, for multiple reasons. One, I want some kind of redemption for my boy, Master Chief, but I'm really hoping that Halo Infinite is good. Halo 4 and 5 are not good games.
Yeah,
this is I'm a huge I have a Halo Reach statue literally right here, dude. Like I'm a huge.
That's a
Halo
nice statue.
Like I love Halo. So I really hope that Halo Infinite. I'm glad they delayed it because it did not look very good when they showed it off.
Agreed.
So I'm hoping, man. I really am.
That was actually one thing I was going to ask you about it, and I'm glad you brought it up. Like, I wanted to get your thoughts on the last gameplay video of the Halo Infinite like gameplay, because for me personally, I was incredibly underwhelmed. I was like, this looks plain.
Yeah, visually it didn't look good. I thought the gameplay itself was interesting. I think the fact that you can open up a map, which is not something you really could do in Halo. I think the grapple hook was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, visually I was like, this is not this is not what you want to show off right now.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys.
What's up?
Just to gain some perspective for myself and any other younger audience members, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You guys you're a little older than me, right? So you know how I keep catching us saying, we talk about these new games and we're like, I hope this is gonna be good. I see this and I hope. Like, was it ever like that before? Like back in the day, was it ever, have you guys always just been hoping for good games, or was there a point where like we expected good games and we got good games, and then eventually we reached this downfall where it's like now we don't even know what we're gonna get? Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like, so say go back to like Xbox, PS2, 360,
Boomers.
stuff like that. Boomers, right?
Yeah.
I feel like things were different then. People just made games that they wanted to make. Like this is what we're gonna make, and you're gonna like it or you're not, whatever. But I feel like now everybody is like, well, this game is doing really good, so how do I copy this game? And like, so the biggest thing, Halo 5 was very different compared to a lot of other Halo games. They were so like, we want to make this esports. That's all we care about. It's Halo 5 esports. So we're going to take away all the stuff you loved about Halo, and we're going to put all this new stuff in there. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want. And they're like, I don't care what you want. We want money, Halo esports. And I was like, okay. And I hate that game. I can't play Halo 5 at all.
Is that the moment that made you start hoping for good games whenever something was announced?
Was that like the last straw where you were like, well, hopefully it's good, but I have no hope?
Yeah, I mean, Halo 4. So like Halo 4 was a disappointment. I was like, oh, it's whatever. And then Halo 5 came out, and I was like, this is depressing. Like for me personally, I'm just so upset right now. So it's just too many people they're not doing their own thing. They're just like, what's gonna make us money? And that's what we're gonna
Battle
do.
Royales.
Correct. And something I want to touch on that you said, I have never heard of a Halo esports tournament since it's been out, honestly. I have genuinely never heard of Halo esports since they talked about it when they were announcing Halo, like Halo 5 esports push. I haven't heard anything about it.
They have what's called the Halo Championship Series.
Yeah.
And they have their own little like logo where it's like a Spartan running, and it's like the two-tone color and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely like way smaller scale. Like it's not nearly as big. I mean, even Gears of War has their own esports little thing, but it's just it's people that play it don't even like it. Like it's kind of like the God of Warfare, for instance. If you paid attention to like the COD League and all that stuff, almost every pro was complaining this entire season about Modern Warfare. They're like, this is not a good game. Like I don't want to play it, and I'm only playing it because I get paid to play it.
Yeah.
So we're in a really weird time where people are just they're like, we have nothing else to play, so I guess I'll play it because I don't got anything good.
Yeah, you said it's on a smaller scale, and for some reason, what I thought of was like you go out there to the venue for the LAN tournament for Halo, and there's like all those white plastic, terrible folding chairs, and they're broadcasting it on like a projector, on like a pull down projector screen for everybody to watch, and like the glare's hitting the screen so nobody can actually see what's happening, and the
That sounds
players
like
don't.
a doozy, dude. I would love
That's what came to my
Luckily,
mind for some reason.
I got
They're
some guy
back
on the side. He's all grilling hamburgers and not seeing us.
No, they have
They
lasagna that they cooked beforehand and brought to the event. What were you gonna say,
they
Spicy?
said they're lucky that they have Microsoft money because
Yeah.
they can put on a very good show. Well, even though like there's like 1,000 people watching it or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, if it wasn't a Microsoft like IP, there's no way in hell it would still have any kind of life at all.
And
Yeah.
to answer your question from my perspective, Joker, you asked if I'd always been at a point where I hope this is going to be good. And I definitely remember a time where I was not at that point. And I remember being 7 years old and playing Superman 64, which is widely regarded as one of the worst games ever. And you had to fly through rings as Superman for some reason, because that was apparently relevant to saving the world, and being Superman was flying through golden rings, kind of like the rings that you jump through when you play Fall Guys. And they thought that should be a core gameplay mechanic, and I did it, and I was terrible, and I loved it. I ate it up. I had such a good time, and I didn't care that it was the worst game ever, and I played it so much, and I played Super Mario 64 so poorly, and I was so bad at it, and I go back and try to play it now, like, and I see the gameplay of the remastered version, and it seems so sloppy, the whole thing does, you know? But I ate it up. You know, there was this sense of awe that I had when I was younger about video games and like the worlds that they were creating and the stories they were telling, that I could appreciate so much more about it because I didn't know as much about it. And if I'm being honest, the part of gaming where I kind of lost the magic of gaming was when I started getting really into content creation and just playing everything. Because right around that same time, I started working at GameStop. So I was able to play every single game that came out. Like when it came out, I knew all the games that were coming out. I talked about all the games that were coming out. Like when someone came into the store and had a question about games, my coworkers would be like, "Go ask Vincent. He's played all of them." Like because legit, I was just playing everything. Like I wanted to get my hands on everything and experience everything. And having experienced so much and done so much research on what the best games are and experienced so many great experiences, it's hard for me to play something average and feel the same sense of magic.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I lost it personally.
And I
Once
think
you
that's
No,
that's justified, Vince. I don't think you should settle for average. I think these developers, they promise us these insane games and they give us like sometimes even a quarter of what they promise. That's not fair to anyone, man.
Yeah. Were you going to say something spicy?
times were really different. Like before, it was like, I mean, again, call me a boomer, I'm dating myself, but like if I wanted to find out about games, I had to go buy like a Game Pro magazine.
Yes.
Game Informer. And you're like just flipping through the pages. You're like, this screenshot looks amazing. Like, this game's gonna be awesome. Now it's like, here's 80 trailers, and let me break down everything and tell you why the game is coming out is not good. And you're like, oh, okay. So I guess maybe it's not that great.
So there's a lot that goes into it. Then you'd say, right? It's just
I mean, it's
information and
like. Plus, when you're younger, you just get games as like a gift, so you're not like buying stuff. So you're like, I hope this game's good, and even if it's not, you're like, well, it's like one of the 6 games I have, so I'm gonna play it.
So, I know it's a bit off topic, but I don't know. I was curious. We were talking. I just noticed we were saying like the word hope a lot, man, and I was like, man, I'm tired of everyone hoping for good games. I want everyone to know there's gonna be a good game, you know?
Yeah, but you can't know nowadays.
Yeah,
you know?
It sucks. It really does.
I mean, look at a game like Star Citizen. Are y'all familiar with Star Citizen?
I hope that game ends.
We just hit the 8-year mark since the first release of a playable version of Star Citizen, I believe. And they still don't have the single-player campaign in the game yet. The Squadron 42, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been 8 years since it's been playable by the public. So you look at a game like that has such a broad scope and such a massive vision and a huge dream for what it could be, and they're just taking such a long time to realize that vision. And who knows if it's ever actually going to get there. Because that is a game that I look at and I'm like, when it comes out, it will be incredible if it comes out.
Yeah, if.
You know?
That's like a
I didn't know
another conversation with like Kickstarter games and stuff like that.
Yeah, it could be definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was 8 years. That's insane. I thought it was like 3 years or 4 years at most. Yeah, because Good luck, Star Citizen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy to think about, but we're at a time where people have to find a balance between, you know, can we make this game happen? Can we make it as incredible as we want to be inside of the time frame that we have
Yeah.
to be able to develop it? And I think that you find games like Halo Infinite, you find games like Anthem, you find games like Marvel's Avengers that would have been served a lot better if they had had like another year in the oven, you know? But now we're at a stage where gaming is so corporate and so driven by the dollar that you don't have the time to put into it that you want to. Blizzard actually made one of the best decisions that I think they have made in the last like 3 years of decision making at Blizzard, since their merger with Activision even, and they decided to delay the upcoming World of Warcraft expansion, which obviously made me sad because I'm excited for the new content. But at the same time, that's a game where I look at the beta, I look at the feedback from the community, and it's overwhelmingly, this needs more time. If you guys don't delay this, there are going to be glaring issues that you can't undo, and you're going to have to try to make up things on the fly to fix these problems, and you won't be able to do it just like you couldn't last expansion. And last expansion, they didn't listen, and Battle for Azeroth is widely regarded as the second worst expansion to ever hit World of Warcraft, and for some people, even the worst, which I don't agree with. I don't think it's the worst, but it definitely is the second worst. And it was terrible. It was so bad up until like the last like patch cycle. It was terrible. It wasn't fun.
What was the worst expansion?
Warlords of Draenor. They released a major patch.
Right, dude.
The only significant thing that released in that patch was an in-game selfie camera that you could use to take screenshots with your character in it. That was the flagship feature of the update.
Dude.
The first major update of that expansion that came out was a selfie camera in your video game.
Always wanted to do that.
It was legitimately a worse version of screenshot mode. A worse version of screenshot mode in normal games. That was the worst expansion. But they finally said, you know what? What we have isn't good enough, and we're going to delay it and make it better. And I wish more people would. I don't wish that they would delay it 8 years like Star Citizen did, okay? Because you got to draw the line somewhere and accept that it's not happening. And I think Star Citizen should have done that 6 years ago, and they haven't. But I definitely think it needed more time in the oven, and I wish more game developers would look at their publishers and say, we want to give you a product that will make you as much money as possible. We want to give you something that will build brand loyalty and keep people coming back for more in the future. We want your live service game to be something people want to pick up more than just for the first week. Give us more time. Because I think if more people were in a position to be able to do that, we would be in less of a circumstance where people are hoping for good games and more of a circumstance where people are playing less games, but better games.
I agree. That was beautifully said.
Thank you. Sometimes you just gotta let them have it.
I felt the passion in that one, Vince. You hit me.
Yeah. What were you saying, Spicy?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I need that game to release on holiday time, so go ahead and just release it. I don't have to wait this patch later.
I appreciate your need to make sure that this is polished, but if you could have it out by Christmas or nothing, I mean that'd be perfect. Have it out by Christmas or find a new job, basically, is what they look at you and say. You know,
we should start telling them that, man. Let's start making some tweets, boys. Gotta pull some weight.
Absolutely. So I think that we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. This is about it for our discussion of live service games. I hope that everybody who's watching and all of our listeners enjoyed it. This is marking our third episode, our first episode with a guest, Spicy Doom, who we're absolutely elated to have joining us today. Yes, so dude. After this episode, I will be going and actually setting up the podcast system itself. So you will be as early as tomorrow, hopefully. You can get updates in my Discord or on my Twitter. I will announce when I post these, but you should be able to get our podcast on all major podcast services. You'll be able to find us on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts is where I'm going to be looking to upload those. So follow me, stay informed on that. Joker, for anybody who doesn't already know where to find your content, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/theordinaryjoker. You got a little thing right below if you need help spelling that. My Twitter is also below me, ordinary_joker with 2 R's, and I go live every day except for Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Spicy, how about you, man? Give yourself one last plug. Let's hear it.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter, just both Spicy Doom. I try to go live at least 4 days a week, usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But yeah, man, 8 o'clock usually Pacific time is when I'm live and I'm playing stuff, man.
All right.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right. Awesome.
I want to thank you for coming on, man. I admire you. I like your content. You're an awesome person, an awesome streamer. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And for anybody who cares, who's not already watching the stream on my channel, you're more than welcome to find more of my content at Just Vince on Twitch, JustVince. Very easy to spell, spelt as said. And then you can find me at Vince0094 on Twitter for more of my content. If you just want to see videos of my cat playing Path of Exile, or random thoughts that I'm having, or when I'm complaining about work or Spectrum. So obviously, again, he already said it, but thank you so much, Spicy. You were an awesome guest. It was wonderful to have you here. Please, guys, if you haven't already, go give our boy Spicy Doom a follow. Wonderful content creator, wonderful guy. If you have any interest in Call of Duty, Detroit Become Human, other variety games, he plays it all. It's been absolutely awesome to have you here. We are going to go ahead and take this time to answer a few questions from the chat. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything that we didn't answer that you wanted to shout us out, anytime that we were wrong and we didn't catch it, that you want to tell us that we were wrong about, we're going to go ahead and reserve this time for that. But otherwise, if no one else has anything in the chat, then we're gonna go ahead and call it here. Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to playing this week while we're waiting for questions?
One thing, Vince, do we have an idea of what our next week's topic is going to be? I know you said you wanted to get that out as soon as possible.
We're gonna be doing that with Sniper.
Okay.
So hey, shout out! I'm Sniper Killer is going to be our guest for next week. He is someone who's been in the chat pretty regularly. He watches these episodes. He's a moderator for Joker's channel. He plays Call of Duty and Resident Evil games. We are still working on our topic for next week, I believe. Double checking real quick, just to see if we have anything jotted down. I don't think we do right now, but yeah. So when we have our topic, we will be tweeting about it. We will be letting you know. We will be informing you guys. I think we talked about it with Sniper already. He might remember, but I don't, because I have a terrible memory. So
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Wouldn't share here.
But hey, quick shout out. Lethal3, thank you so much for the $5 tip. I appreciate you. You're awesome.
Woo!
Thank you to all the new follows that came in. You guys are amazing. We
Little
appreciate you
flap
guys.
for that one.
Yeah. All right. And it doesn't look like anybody has any questions or anything like that. We do have a Gmail. So anybody who wants to send us mail throughout the week, or anybody who wants to give us comments, compliments, anything like that. Do you have the Gmail that you can post in the chat, Joker?
Throwing in the chat right now. It's going to be gamingtonic1@gmail.com. Right there.
All right. So any comments, any questions, anything like that, go ahead and send it over to gamingtonic1@gmail.com. As always, hate mail, send it straight to Joker. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear your negative opinions. I only want praise. That's it.
Every goddamn time, dude.
Yeah. If you send enough praise, I will go ahead and send you my personal email, so that way you can send me just all the kind things all the time, and that'll be perfect. Also, for anybody who would like to be on the show, we do have an application for anyone who would like to be guest starring on the show. We do have I'm Sniper Killer, who's going to be guest starring next week, like we already mentioned. Spicy was our guest this week, and we have had a couple of applications already. But for anybody who would like their chance, we will take a look at your application, check out your content, review it, and then we will be getting in touch with you. So, do you have the link as well for the application, Joker, for anybody who wants to do that?
I'll grab that right now.
Okay, so we're going to be posting that in the chat. But if anybody can't find that for some reason, feel free to tweet at us. We do have it posted on our Twitter. You can also follow the Gaming Tonic Twitter at Gaming Tonic Pod, as well as we have our very own Gaming Tonic Out of Context Twitter that you guys can feel free to follow as well. We follow that. So, huge thank you. There's the form. All right. So for anybody who's in the live chat on the live show, our loyal viewers, the best viewers, the live show viewers, we appreciate you guys. Thank you all for coming out to another recording of the live show of Gaming Tonic. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Yes. Much love.
Sorry.
Joker holds up the heart all the time. Y'all are
Leave it
amazing.
in the video, Vince. YouTube's going to know that the live viewers are the best viewers.
They are the best viewers. YouTube's going to have to hear about it. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, well, Vince is just spitting facts, YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if they were the best viewers, they'd be here too, you know? So,
that's right.
All
Maybe
right.
they'll be here next time now if you want to be the best.
Well, gentlemen, anything else before we close?
I think I'm good, man. I've said what I need to say today.
All right.
Absolutely.
Much love, guys. As always, you guys are awesome. We're awesome. Viewers, you're awesome. Mainly the live viewers. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a great week. Especially the live viewers.